最近おじいちゃんいるから違うけど久しぶりにバイブスあげてこう嬉しそうできるスイカ
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Castaway Anime Podcast. I'm Neon Manta.
And I'm Crunchy Bagels.
And we're back with, once again, the spring seasonal cast, another seasonal anime podcast where we take every show, every new show from the entire season. We go down the whole list to tell you what's hot and what's not. And this week, we're joined by two very special guests. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves?
What up? I'm Inspirational. You can just call me Shamu. I talk about rocks on YouTube.
Hi, I'm Red Joker. I'm supposed to be an anime channel, but I think I've accidentally become a Yuri channel.
Hey, what a pivot.
The good
the best possible pivot you could have.
Is it?
Yeah, and
you said that to
Is
two
it?
Yuri fanatics, just so you know.
I see.
You are among your own brethren right now. So
I swear I
there's
don't
nothing but
only talk
open
about
arms
Yuri.
here. We swear too.
Yo, blooming to you.
Although
is
you
pretty good.
wouldn't think that. And we're here today on this most auspicious of nights or mornings if you're in Joker's case to cover every single show from the spring 2023 season. It's got a lot to live up to after the, or not. I should say not very much to live up to after the Snooze Fest, the Honkshu festival that was last season.
What are you talking about, Neon? Didn't you love the, what's a generic isekai last
Yes,
season?
My Life as Inukai-san's dog was peak, and it was anime of the fucking decade.
I read the manga.
True that.
Yeah,
No,
we know the guest that we had on for that one read the manga
I
too.
read
Oh,
the...
hell no.
It was.
You
it
gave
was an
me
experience.
PTSD flashbacks.
I got so curious
would you-
I read the entire book.
Yeah, that's what they all say. That's how it starts. But this time, there's actually more than two good shows. Two with an asterisk. There's multiple good shows this season, and not just good ones, but ones that have been exploding in popularity. Especially the second one on our list, which we'll get to. But right now, we gotta start off strong. We gotta start off with everyone's favorite, a Shonen Jump property. We got Jigokuraku, aka Hell's Paradise.
So this is one of the first shows I saw this season. For once, I didn't cram all of them in the final day. This season was good enough that I could just like watch random shows and enjoy them, you know, if people were talking about them. So Jigokuraku, I saw probably like over a week ago at this point. So my memory may be a little hazy, but the shonen manga has been hyped up for years. It's been one of the big ones that everyone's been anticipating an adaptation for. And you know what? I see where the hype comes from. It is mucho good. Mucho greatness.
I watched the first episode. See, I'm not really a shonen fan. Shonen is like that thing that I watch and be very entertained, but isn't ever the thing. It's never my favorite anime. It's just a thing I watch, be very entertained, and then just let it pass by. I will say the first episode impressed me more than most shonens. I do quite like the setup. Maybe a little bit edgy for my taste, but I think I'll at least continue watching.
I read
mean,
the manga for it, so it was interesting knowing what happens and seeing the adaptation. I like Kaku's art style, the mangaka. So you know how Mappa is with their adaptations. So it was interesting first episode, to say the least.
It's funny that you bring up, you say Mappa's style, but I was actually a little underwhelmed by Mappa's output this time. Not to say that Jigokuraku looks bad. It looks
okay,
good.
that is perplexing to me.
But
I want to hear your explanation. Did Chainsaw Man just like put your expectations into the all the way up over there? From Super Paper
anyone
Mario.
expecting this to be as beautiful as Chainsaw Man, or maybe even Jujutsu Kaisen, I would say it doesn't look as good as either of those two shows. But as far as compared to all the other shows that came out this season, it's definitely one of the better looking ones. I think what's throwing me off is just and granted, maybe this will change given the fact that they're gonna go into the hell world, which will probably look like really cool and beautiful and unique. But I'm just not a fan of the color palette of the show. I feel like it's very washed out and unappealing.
I had none of those thoughts. I think the show is one of the best looking this season. I mean, granted, I haven't seen the second block yet, but there's only one other show on this list for this block that I think gives it a run for its money, and that I would say surpasses it. But this one still looks incredibly solid. It's got that the classic Mappa style that is. Here's the thing about Mappa shows. They all clearly have a very samey visual identity, but it's so hard to put into words what about them is the same, except an emphasis on detailed character art. They always have very, very detailed and clean character art, whereas in a lot of lower tier shows, you see the characters and sometimes they're these off-model blobs, whereas even when Mappa shows aren't moving constantly, they're still very like the character art is always technically good and on model, unless it's like an uber rushed Mappa production, which sometimes they are. Mappa isn't renowned for being the best run anime studio, but I feel like this time they were delivering on all the points they needed to. They got it looking real nice and dolled up and neat looking. I didn't have the same issues with the color palette that Neon did.
I kind of get what Neon means. I mean, I think the show looks really good, but before the show came out, I kept hearing people kind of like combine this show with Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man as like some dark trio of Shonen Jump or something. So when the other two in your trio are Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen's level of animation, and then you go to this, you're like, well, it's really good, but it kind of had impossible expectations to live up to animation-wise.
Yeah, there's just not enough time and effort to go around in the Mappa staff to make every single one of their shows that they put out seemingly like one every season, maybe sometimes well, it seems like now maybe one every 2 seasons to make it look as beautiful as JJK or Chainsaw Man, especially Chainsaw Man, which is just probably one of the most beautiful television anime ever produced,
And
at least on a technical aspect.
to put into context, Attack on Titan final season, whatever, special one, came out like a couple weeks into this season or the end of last season, so I'm sure that affected some production as they're reaching the end of their cycle. So I don't know how much was actually dedicated to Jigokuraku.
I mean, Mappa always has rushed deadlines. Jujutsu Kaisen, although everyone is like, oh, it looks so great, which yeah, it does, but you have to understand that it was still made on an incredibly rushed schedule, and that it only looks that good because of connections. I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was the director who had connections to a lot of people in the industry that were able to make it look as good as it did. And not all productions have that blessing. And in Mappa's case, considering it has a tendency to just rush out everything, it's like, it's not always gonna be a Jujutsu Kaisen. And that is the unfortunate reality of the situation. But even still, the other good-looking show this block was also made under a tight schedule, but, considering the conditions they were made under, I think this is a great-looking final product, even if, in an ideal world, the anime industry wouldn't be run like shit.
Yeah, that's like...
Yeah, like in...
Oh, go on, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm not supposed to say, like, that's just every studio that isn't Kyoto Animation.
Or Trigger.
Or UFO Table, I think. But exceptions aside.
Yeah.
Well, as for the story, I find it like a huge breath of fresh air for a shonen type story. It's about this ninja boy named Gabimaru, who he's been captured by the shogunate or whatever in Edo era Japan, and he's gonna be put to death for being a big murder boy, but because he's this super powerful ninja guy, he can't be killed. He's quite literally built too different to be killed by any normal human means like beheading or being set on fire, pulled apart by bulls. So this one lady from the shogunate fucking cabinet or whatever it's called, named Sagiri, is sent to at first be the one to, put him down, seemingly, but she's trying to interrogate him to figure out what makes him tick and see, like, hey, you say you're this hollow shinobi who has no attachments to life, but it looks like that every time you are about to be killed, you're doing your best to resist dying. So, what's the deal with that? What's causing you to keep going despite your claims that you're just not long for this world anymore?
I really loved the explanations that the narrator gave of all the deaths, where it's like, I mean, first of all, it's just interesting on its face, but second of all, it implants in your mind like this is impossible to survive, and then he just does. He's just built different, bro. And I do really like the protagonist so far. He, like you said, seems sort of hollow, but it's mostly a front. Is what we discover by the end of the episode, where his whole thing, his whole motivation is he just wants to live a peaceful life with his wife. He just
Don't
wants
we
to.
all?
Don't we all?
He wants what every anime fan truly wants deep down in their hearts, and he's like, he tells the village leader, bro, can I just like not do this ninja stuff? Can I just like live in peace and have a cool epic fun life? And he's like, yeah, no, you can't leave the village because that's outlawed by the shinobi. And so I thought the way it went about dissecting his character is overall was interesting, although this might be a petty complaint, but I'm not the hugest fan of how the anime straight up lies to you about how much he likes his wife. And granted, it's because he's putting up a front, but it kind of almost leans into the territory of, I don't know, it's just straight up lying to you for no reason. I didn't really get why that was needed.
I don't think it was a case of like lying to the audience. I think it was just more of a case of not showing the whole story, because we see the first time.
Yeah, it's a lie by omission.
Yeah, he describes
the character's lying for reason.
He describes his time with his wife at first to be like, oh, I gotta deal around be around this hoe. I don't got time for this thought. But then we see in the second dose of flashbacks, where it picks up where each one got cut off before, where in my favorite moment of characterization.
I think that's well, you can go ahead, but I think you literally just described my problem with it.
In my favorite moment of characterization for Gabimaru, because I thought I was gonna like not enjoy being around this guy who's just gonna be like an edgy loner who's like, all right, well, I'll do it, but I'm not gonna be too happy about it. And then over the course of the story, he learns that he has stuff worth fighting for. No, in actuality, he's kind of like an emotional little soft boy who loves his wife and does want to spend the rest of his life with her and be happy with her to live a normal life. And he will instead go to this hell world that exists to retrieve this elixir of life for the Shogun to in order to earn protection from the Shogun that will prevent them from getting hunted by the government or by the shinobis, so they can just live a peaceful life. He's like, all right, bet, let's go. I'm on board. It's a big 180, and it's very pleasant.
Yeah, I absolutely agree there. And what I was going to get back to with my problem with it's the flashbacks. If he just said, like, yeah, I hate my wife, it'd be like, okay, well, I get why, that would be a front, that would be exploring the character in a meaningful way. You need that to establish that, he's all about putting on, putting up a strong, apathetic face in the face of what he is. I need new words. I need to stop saying face constantly. But the issue is that it shows, like, these flashbacks that are then cut off to bolster the lie for what gain? What purpose? I'm drawing a blank. Why was that needed?
I think it was more of like he was lying to himself. That's all he was willing to reveal. Because if we got the entire like flashback all at once, like realistically we wouldn't care. So this is like a little bit of trying to get the viewer to invest. I don't think it like fully paid off, but that's just the approach that they ended up taking.
I just don't get how it heightens investment. All we really need is for him to say, "I hate my wife," and then we can just get the flashbacks later. No, I think that'd be based. I don't know. It's a small complaint overall. I just don't understand why the flashbacks that only serve to mislead the viewer exist for seemingly no purpose.
I kind of get it. It's like they want to mislead you to kind of demonstrate how he's lying to himself. I kind of get what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
I guess.
it does make for the scene for when he decides like, yeah, you know what, I have been lying to myself. I do care. I do want to live to
Yeah, it's like
make my wife
it's
happy.
like a small parallel between like what he thought before and what he thought after he realized the truth.
That is a fair point. I'll give you that. That is completely fair.
And I know I said that I wasn't too big on the show's visuals or the color palette, but I will. What I say gets me excited about it is two moments that stick out to me. One is when they the shogunate sends the expedition crews to where they think is the hell world, where the elixir of life supposedly is. And when they come back, there's like these colorful flowers filled to the brim of these boats that come back, and they are super colorful. They're the most colorful thing in the entire show. And but they contain like body parts of the people who were sent there. So it looks like they were turned into flowers and somehow sent back to the land of the living. And I thought that was pretty cool. And that gets me excited to see what and imagine what the world of hell in this show will look like. I mean, after all, the show is called Hell's Paradise, and that being an oxymoron as it is, just gets the noggin jogging of what kind of visuals they could cook up for that kind of a setting. But what gets me excited for like the animation aspect of the show, like the one little sword fight scene that we get between Gabimaru and Sagiri is not bad, but it's not like incredibly well choreographed. It's like a basic clash of blades. But the two times where the dude is set on fire, that's when the show goes crazy.
So you want,
Bro, in the like at the end when he's like about to, get all those guys and he's lit on fire, that shot is beautiful.
so you're saying you want him to be lit on fire?
Yes, I want him to be engulfed in flames nonstop the entire show. In fact, he should be the Human Torch of anime. But no.
He's
but
gonna be like the fire girl from that Pixar movie upcoming.
Yeah.
Great.
That's what we want.
Great ethics we
Except
have.
without looking like Uncanny Valley. But yeah, no, for real though, the fire effects are fucking beautiful. And when the dude is like lit on fire, and like you see his face morph into like that of like a demon's when he's engulfed in the flames, but still like surviving inside of it. That's when the show is looking like a Mappa show.
I was about to say it reminds me of something, but that's a manga spoiler of a certain anime that I cannot say. So,
Well, I guess we have to keep that one to yourself then. What I find interesting about this show from the production aspect is that unlike most shonen anime, or at least like weekly Shonen Jump manga that get adapted into anime, this one, correct me if I'm wrong, because I didn't research this to confirm it 100%, but I know that it ended recently, like within the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think it ended January 2021 or 2022, one of the others. I read it
2020.
Yeah, I read it right as it ended. That's when I caught up with it.
And how many volumes is it? Like 10?
12, 13?
13.
Okay, so
I
yeah,
have the Annie list thing up.
it's
I have the cheat sheet.
It's of like a middling length to kind of even small for a successful Shonen Jump story, because it was popular when it came out, but I don't think it got cut short. I think the author was like, no, this is just where I am deciding to end the series.
that sounds like a green flag, right? It's a good thing that they're not dragging it.
Yeah, that's why I'm so interested in to see how this is gonna get adapted by Mappa. So to know that like, all right, there's no possible opportunity for filler. The story is done. We don't have to like put the show on hiatus so that way the manga can get further ahead than the anime, so they have more material to adapt. The manga's done. Mappa can approach it at their own pace, and so I'd imagine that it would be a nice, faithful adaptation.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
I'm looking at the AniList page. This is random, but Tatsuya Endo, the Spy Family author, was apparently an assistant on the manga for Hell's Paradise.
Yep.
So that's
cool.
The
Shonen Jump staff is pretty incestuous sometimes.
Kaku was
Incest.
a assistant
Based.
for Fujimoto. So was Endo. They were all assistants to Fujimoto during his Fire Punch day.
Yeah, that is just how it'd be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chainsaw Man. Yeah, the Chainsaw Man author.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't think I have anything to say other than I didn't take any notes for this episode because I was too busy being enraptured by it. Which for Shamu and Red Joker, that
Rare.
is basically the less notes I take on a show, the better it is. Paradoxically, That
That's
tends
the
to be what
opposite
it
for
is.
me.
If I don't like something, I will take notes to distract myself from the fact that I am watching it.
I see. I don't take notes because I feel like generally I remember what I like and don't like about shows.
I take
Well,
notes
I have
for
dementia
some
on
of the
settings, so
Fair.
I take notes for some of the the bad shows, especially the bad isekai, because they all blend together. I have to take notes to be like, okay, what the fuck was the stupid part about this one specifically?
I mean, watching the isekai is a skill issue in and of itself, but we'll get to
We'll
that.
get
There's one that we'll talk about later. I forgot I watched the episode for it. I was like, what is this show? And I was like, oh wow, yeah, I blocked that out.
My point exactly.
I guess
Perfect.
one
does
last
anyone
thing
else have
for
any-
Hell's Paradise. I really like the OP. The OP was really nicely shot. I think it's one of the same teams from one of the Chainsaw Man EDs, but I mean there was a different team for every Chainsaw Man ED, so that doesn't really narrow it down. But it was nice.
This is completely personal opinion. I really like the visuals. I'm not a fan of the song. Not really my thing. So
Yeah,
Yeah, same for me. I'm not huge on the song.
I've only seen it the once, and I don't remember being crazy about the song. But then again, it is one of those things where I'd probably have to watch and listen to it a bunch of times,
Throughout
in
the
order
season.
to.
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
in order to let it sink in. Anyone else have any final things they want to say about Hell's Paradise?
Nope.
Not really.
All right, well
I
then
think
we're
we're
gonna
ready to move on.
Yep, to
to
the big one.
Stole his transition.
Yeah, usually in these seasonal shows, we structure it in a way where the biggest show of the season we put at the very beginning of the first podcast, so that way we get all the eyes on it as possible. It turns out though, foolish that we doubted the legend that is Aka Akasaka with Oshi no Ko.
So Oshi no Ko is a 90-ish minute movie. I'm not actually sure exactly how long it is, but the equivalent of 3 or 4 anime episodes. I think 3.
It's closer to 4 actually.
Yeah, it's
closer
like
to
4.
4.
It's 4 basic.
Well, it did not feel its length at all. I will say that first of all. It is super easy to binge and just sit down and watch and be like, yo, you almost watch it like a movie. And it is comparable in length to one. And that to me is like a statement. We're going to make the first episode of this stupidly long because I mean you've seen that in
What
the
a
past
power
with
move.
Yeah, it's a power move. And the thing is, I can't recall a time it's ever been done to this extent. ReZero had a double length first episode. Shield Hero did. Remake Our Life. Some other shows.
Rakugo's director's cut had close to 80 minutes, give or take, but that was obviously part of the Blu-ray, so it wasn't TV release.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
and
can't.
so-
I can't think of a time where an anime started with
A movie. That's insane.
Yeah, for their first episode. Granted, you can see where it's cutting into the production of the show because I just checked the Now page and apparently the show's only going to be 11 episodes long as opposed to the usual 12 or 13. But considering the first episode, it takes up 4 episodes length of time.
That's still more.
Completely understandable.
That's the more content than usual basically if you add them up.
Yeah,
Bro,
you,
straight
you
up
are
the
right.
same length as Bakemonogatari, and that one also had a weird release.
Mm.
And also, before we go on to this one any further, I feel the need we should throw up a spoiler warning for this show in particular, because like much like a movie, this shit's got some developments that will
All right, so
drastically
hold on.
affect
If you don't know what Oshi no Ko is and you want to remain spoiler free, I'll just lay it out here in like simple terms but spoiler free, right? So it's a very happy-go-lucky idol show about this girl named Hoshino Ai. She's a very endearing protagonist, you know, just this ray of sunshine with not a single black spot upon her, and she, you know, has these two fans that reincarnate as her children, and you know they both love her. It's a very family oriented show like Dragon Maid or Spy
yeah, it's a very
Family.
good slice of life.
It the thing is, it's a bit more plot related, so that's why we have the spoiler warning up. So if you want to remain spoiler free and you know watch this actually really really fun and wholesome show, 5 4 3 2. Hoshino Ai dies.
Well, I feel like you might have jumped the gun a little bit too much, but
This guy.
I.
I mean, that's what you gotta do.
I know we haven't. Most of us probably haven't seen all the shows from Block 2 yet. For whenever we do the next part of the podcast, but I will be. I'll say it now. I will be surprised if I watch a show this season that's better than this one. I think this might be show of the season.
It's kind of cheating.
It
has,
is
like,
cheating
4
because we
episodes
watched
of
4
development.
episodes of content in one episode.
Yeah, that's.
But then again,
Because
I
if
also
had
can't
watched
imagine.
the first 23 minutes of this, I probably would not have put it as high.
And that's like
I mean,
the thing, right? Like the
I think I would
sad
have,
part is,
honestly.
like,
I mean,
this-
it still would have been like, I mean, I can see myself putting Jigokuraku above it if it had only been 23
Yeah.
minutes. But obviously no lower than that. But I mean, I guess I can start with my first hot take, my one and only hot take about this show. It should have been 4 episodes.
What?
I liked it as a movie.
All right, listen, it's a
Explain.
good movie, but imagine the hype, right? So, you know, you have this unassuming looking show that, you know, just seems normal and all that. And then you get to like episode 3 or 4, whatever. I'm too lazy to think about how many episodes it would actually be, right? Imagine the hype, though. It would be straight up Madoka Magica level. Oh my lord! Oh, that's what this show is about. Bro, imagine how cool that'd be.
But we
I don't
kind
know.
of already
I think
get
that'd be
that
awesome.
with. I'm gonna disagree hard there because we already get that when the doctor guy dies because we've already established that people get murdered in this show.
I mean, yeah, but that's like a normal part of reincarnation. You gotta die. Although it is a murder, so that does, you know, put a little more of a question mark there. But even still,
I feel like
I think it would be
I
cool.
think too many people will have dropped it before the plot twist. I think this.
I mean,
set
don't
up
to
the
be
hype
fair,
for-
would.
what's to stop someone from just dropping it like 20 minutes into the first episode?
Well,
Like, I don't think that would result in more drops, but I just think it'd be cool.
I think the story only worked this way. Like I don't think it would have worked as split into 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, this is
there's
definitely
such
a-
shift. Like,
I mean,
It's
it's
definitely a.
I mean, to be fair, I'm not familiar with the source material, and I do know that it does get like a lot different from this point
Mhm.
forward. But even still, I mean, the manga released, you know, chapter by chapter. It had the same release. I mean, unless I'm missing something, and it literally dumped the first volume all at once.
it
Maybe
was,
maybe that happened.
but like the entire prologue, which adapted episode 1, was 10 whole chapters. Like
volume
Yeah.
1. I think the entirety of volume 1 was adapted in that
mhm.
episode.
So that was first 10 chapters. So like
yeah.
I don't remember if it actually dropped. Maybe Joker can relate. I don't know if they dropped the first 10
No,
chapters.
I
got
read
in like
pretty
chapter
late.
30.
Oh, I got in when there was like 80 or 90. I just binged it, so I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
what it
Never mind
is.
then. Never
But
mind.
I mean, I don't remember hearing anything like that. So the manga presumably, released in a similar fashion. Well, or rather a dissimilar fashion from the anime.
Well, okay.
So I mean,
There's also that thing where like so many manga readers were trying to like pseudo spoil people that I'm kind of glad it just kind of
They were
got it
theory
out.
crafting.
Yeah, like not theory crafting. You go to any like trailer or anything about the show, every comment is like, "Oh, this is such a fun and wholesome show." Like in a way where you can tell it's sarcastic. So
I mean,
We know Made in Abyss fans, yeah.
so like I'm almost glad they just kind of got it out of the way in the first episode.
To be
So less
fair,
people
the synopsis itself on AnyList or anywhere does spoil it. So like, there's no going around it.
That is
Damn.
true. That is something that kind of annoys me.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb.
Here, how bad does it spoil it actually?
It spoils it up to the fact that the kid, he gets reincarnated as the son of the idol.
That's not too bad.
I mean, for some reason, well, yeah, that's not bad. For some reason, I remember there being like worse spoilers on it at some point.
No,
but
you thinking
I'm
of
trying
Twitter.
to remember. Well, I didn't get. Actually, I did get spoiled on Twitter before the
so
like
did
right
I.
after the episode came out. But
I mean, I knew.
normally I'm good at avoiding spoilers. That's the thing. Like normally I say. Spoilers, skill issue. I'm skilled and never get spoiled. And then I got spoiled.
No.
I knew by reputation that the show got dark. I didn't know exactly how. I had a feeling that the main girl on the cover dies, but I did not expect. I got spoiled by the frames and the a couple of the shots, and I was sad to see that get spoiled like that on Twitter because I would have loved to see.
Like
to see
the,
those blind for the first time.
The super detailed frames that everyone was putting up. On
Yeah.
Twitter.
To be fair, I didn't see the one frame until during the
Okay, that's
episode,
good.
which I'm very glad about.
Speaking of
Because
super
that
detailed,
one hit like a truck.
yeah. Because speaking of super detailed, I know we're jumping around all over the place, but this is
I mean, we kind of
this
have
show's
to.
probably the best looking Dogakobo show ever.
No, you're wrong.
Name a better one.
I mean, I personally put. I mean, to be fair, it has been a while since I've seen New Game, so maybe I'm actually tripping.
No, you're I watched both seasons of New Game, and while it does look nice, you are deluding yourself if you think this looks better than New Game.
I mean, the thing is, you can still tell at times that. Okay, Dogakoba has been increasingly tightening their, from what I can understand at the very least, and Sakuga blog corroborates this. They've been increasingly tightening their deadlines, and so I can't help but look at Oshi no Ko and be like, all right, these animators are trying their hardest. Like, apparently the animation director was just like doing a phenomenal job, and that was a big part of why the project came out as good looking as it did. But there's just a part of me that's like, I know what must have happened behind here, and I can at times see there was one moment. I'm not sure if I screenshotted it, but there was this one moment where they used a real life image in the background, like just straight up as the background, which isn't a big deal. But at the same time, it's like I'm seeing through the threads and being like, I know Dogakoba's run horribly. But at the same time, once again, this is, I mean, I'd say the best looking show of all the ones in this block, and I don't think anything in the next block will overtake. It's got incredibly detailed character art, and it still manages to get quite a bit of movement from it fairly consistently. There's lots of adorable cuts of animation, like when the two babies are waving their
Yeah.
what are they called? The glow
Glow
sticks around.
sticks.
Yeah.
I'm an idol fan. I would know.
Oh no.
Oh no.
It's too far go. All right, actually, I'm glad that you said that actually, because now, because this show is directed directly at people towards you by Aka Akasaka. How do you feel being told that everything that you love as an idol fan is a fucking lie?
I mean, I knew that. I agree.
See,
I
that's
agree.
the thing about this show. Because that's one of my favorite things about its personality, right? So, admittedly, when I was told, hey, you're going to be watching an entire movie on top of all the usual stuff for the show, so I was like, if I don't like this is going to be torture. And then, I mean, one of the first things that endeared me to the show and that instantly reassured me was its personality. And this show has the view of the idol industry is garbage. You know it's garbage. The idols know it's garbage. Your next door neighbor probably knows it's garbage. If you went up to your great grandma and said, "Hey, grandma, is the idol industry bad?" She'd probably say, "Yeah." Everyone knows. And this show doesn't pretend like it's telling you any new revelation of knowledge. It goes in assuming that you already know that the idol industry is bad. And it gets that out of the way immediately with the main character being like, he starts off monologuing about how it's all a bunch of lies. An idol fan wants to be told the perfect lie. And then he's just like, "But I don't care. Hoshino Ai is cute."
Okay. I don't completely agree with your take here. I don't think he's trying to like dunk on idol fans or the idol industry as in everything here is trash, but more like, because there was also like a bunch of like acting scenes in the first episode, right? I think it felt more like a general message of, hey, everything in the entertainment industry is just for show. Everything you see is a lie, but because it's a business, it's for show. But I don't think it's necessarily saying, "Oh, everything here is garbage. If you like this, you're garbage." I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, he doesn't say if you like it, you're garbage, because he likes it. He likes it knowing that, like, hey, it's all a lie, it's all fake.
Yeah.
None of this is real. They're just, they're not the people they're trying to be, essentially.
Yeah,
and, they're being pressured to put on this idealized version of themselves, which is the problem that not the only problem, but you know what I'm getting.
Right.
Yeah, I what I like about it is that it's they're portraying all the idols and the whole industry as like a big lie, and some of them are in on it, like the main doctor guy. But what fascinates me about it and what made it so endearing and appealing is through Ai Hoshino specifically, because she's like this, almost you'd think her to be an airhead, and like to some extent she kind of is when it comes to like trying to be a mom for the first time. She's a little in over her head, and she's kind of coasting on easy mode when she's got an agency to cover up her teen pregnancy and someone to look after her kids while she's still doing her idol shit. But what fascinates me about it is that it seems like the show is taking the stance of, yeah, the idol industry is a cesspool, but and there's probably no saving it. But if that's the case, why not play to win, right? If we're like, why if we're gonna play the game, let's not play to lose. So let's just keep it to, let's just go all in on it and double down on our shit, and maybe some good will come out of it. Like the whole thing with Ai is that she is like searching for this love that she never really felt like she truly felt before, and is trying to find it through this whole career of being an idol, and is trying to like, hey, if I tell all of these people that I love them, then maybe like that lie, if I repeat the lie enough, maybe it'll eventually become truth.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've been told about the manga, that is one of the main themes is that like storytelling essentially is a form of trickery. It is selling this false narrative, and it's I imagine Aka Akasaka doing at least a little bit of introspecting on his own stories, and getting people to buy into their narratives and whatnot. And obviously I have no idea where it goes or how true that even is, but
yeah, I think like
this idea of trickery does stick around, particularly with the main character resolves to become an actor and get into showbiz in order to find Ai's killer. I assume the main girl becomes an idol. I'm not actually sure.
Well,
Yeah,
I'd imagine that she probably would.
I won't say anything. You'll see. I won't say anything. You'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Yeah, she's gonna become the incarnation of the nine-tailed fox, and then that's how they're gonna track down the
What
the killer.
what isekai world are you living in? 90.
The Pokemon. That's the only reference I have for that.
Oh, this guy has not read Naruto.
Oh,
I have not read Naruto.
I have
This
not
guy
read
does not
Naruto.
fucking know Naruto at all.
I don't know any of it.
No, I do
I
not.
don't either.
oh man.
I
Go, you know what the nine-tailed fox is. That's famous.
He literally asked you if it's some isekai shit.
It's Ninetales. It's a Pokemon. Pokemon's an isekai, basically. No, I mean, not really, but you know.
Mystery Dungeons and Isekai.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
True. There we go.
Yeah, but back to Oshinoko. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's visually stunning. The characters are all enjoyable. The dialogue is very smart, which I appreciate.
One thing I really liked was they kind of held back on the colors until Ai's first performance, and they blasted the background and all the people with like vivid colors while she was performing, and we had that nice cut of Ai with like the heart, like the heart on her heart. I thought that was really great use of colors, like just in general, holding it back, because everyone that was waiting to see like, oh, what is this chick all about? Like, she's probably just a regular old idol girl, and then she literally breathes it into the room.
I completely agree. I really like how they kind of show that Hoshino Ai is this really, like, she's this figure that people just like, that just attracts people, like, and they kind of show it through the colors where, like, you don't know why, but like you can't take your eyes off of her, and like you can kind of see it in her like kind of fun-ish, trolly, airhead personality as well. She's just inherently charming, and they can use the colors in the performances to demonstrate that. I really like how they did that.
And then the other
Some
end
of these
it,
shots
go ahead.
are. Oh, you can go ahead.
I was saying, like, the other end of it is when she was first being scouted, like, all color was almost removed. It was extremely white scene. And the only color was left was in her eyes, so it was a great contrast.
I will say
There are some shots in this that are just gonna stick with me, like Hoshino Ai with her arms spread out under a single star, with her hair like casting a shadow over her eyes, where like you can tell like something's wrong. Something is wrong here, right? She, basically has dedicated her entire life. She has become the idol. And is trying to become exactly like that, and putting on this persona, and like there are all these small moments that just really sell that aspect of her character.
Speaking of idols, the moment I knew I was idol trash was like when they released the other 3 like side songs that, because if you go on YouTube, there's this like they have this like preview for the other idol songs performed by, I think it's called Bikomachi, the like Hoshino Ai's group. I'm like,
yeah.
They're all like pretty generic idols. I'm like, damn, do I not like this? Fuck me. I'm idol trash. They're good though.
Congratulations. There's a guy named Vlusky who you should check out and talk to sometime.
They didn't show it in the first episode. It's in the second episode onward. I don't know if y'all have seen it yet, but the opening.
Wait,
for
you
the
saw
show goes hard. I didn't see the second episode, but I saw the
Okay.
opening online. It
I
goes
saw the
hard.
opening.
I haven't seen
The opening's visuals are perfect for the song.
I honestly preferred the music video by
I do too, though.
that music video.
I haven't actually seen the music video.
I
so-
haven't seen the opening, but I love the music video. So
I'm sad
will
that
say-
the music video, they didn't just recycle a 1
Yeah.
minute 30-second version of it for the opening, because it's so good.
I will say the OP
I
has
kinda-
like the nice scene with the glow sticks, but other than that, like the music video for me kind of shines.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like
there's some really badass shots in the OP, like the characters standing in the dark room with like the projections behind
Of their
them.
life.
I
Yeah.
think that's cool.
the song.
Yeah.
And like intercutting Hoshino Ai's idol performance with the main guy like running around outside at night, presumably trying to deduce the clues and whatnot. Put it together. Aquamarine Hoshino. The characters have such goofy names, but I kind of like it.
No, bro,
yeah, yeah, it would be fitting for I to name her children after
Bro,
gemstones.
yeah.
The kanji for Aqua is so fucked. It's so funny.
Yeah, because there's no Q in the Japanese language.
The kanji for aqua is so fucked. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, you know, aqua, right? She used the same kanji for the first A from A and the ku-a, and she used the same kanji for the last A. Ah. It's so fun, bro.
I will say, personal pet peeve. The first 10 seconds of the song are just obnoxious and annoying.
What?
That's my favorite part of the
then-
song.
What?
What? Okay,
I like
so
the
my problem with
I like
it
the
is
tone that it
it-
sets.
It's like girl boss tones, but at the end of every line, she does like this weird up
Voice
tilt in her
crack? I
voice.
love
That's
it.
the best part!
I hate it. It's annoying.
No, it's the
And then
best.
it's
Yo,
What
I-
are you talking about?
becomes
I'm
good
starting a
from that
war.
point
What the
forward.
fuck? Whoa. What? That song is like, that song is the best opening this season.
No, I
bar none.
love the song. I love the song overall. It's just that part. And then it just randomly gets good.
It's good the whole time. You're talking nonsense.
You are talking nonsense.
I'm the only one in the room talking sense.
I'm going karaoke. I'm gonna sing it like that on purpose.
You know what? That'd be funny. Do it.
Not now. I haven't memorized the song.
No, now.
Now?
You sealed
I
your
don't
fate.
have the lyrics.
Get the lyrics.
What's great about this show is that it has like 3 layers of premises that you discover as it goes on. That even the very first premise is already good. Like it gets more intriguing the more things happen in it. Like even if like discounting the synopsis spoilers that are you see in like the Mal page and the Annulus page, if you just take the show as okay, it's about this gynecologist who is this fan of this really popular idol girl who ends up being pregnant with twins at 16, which is like fascinating in and of itself because that's just not a thing you see in anime a lot. Yeah, but like even disregarding that on its own, and he's tasked with delivering her children, but she's trying to maintain it a secret because if word gets out that she's this teenage idol who got knocked up and having kids, she can't continue her career anymore. She's gonna be this tainted idol, but she's insisting on like, no, I'm gonna keep the kids and I'm going to raise them as my children and still be an idol at the same time because I can, and because I want to. And so like that on its own is like an already interesting enough premise, but then you add on the juicy layer of okay, now there's this stalker guy who's trailing I and kills the gynecologist that's going to help I deliver the kids, and then he gets reincarnated like an isekai as her newborn son, and then like that's enough to throw up an eyebrow and be like, hey yo. Like, you already had me at delivering this idol's child and trying to, like, have this double life, this Hannah Montana double life as a mother and an idol. But now you're throwing in this, like, isekai level shit at me? Like, what's your end game?
Don't say isekai in reference
Damn,
to Oshi
everyone's
Oshino.
favorite
It doesn't
anime
deserve
this
that.
season is an isekai. Isekai is peak.
I refuse to consider...
It's not an isekai,
Get
but
that
you
word
have to admit,
away
like,
from Oshi
I only take it because it's reincarnation, which is like
It is,
almost
though.
inescapable aspect of isekai.
I mean,
it's not
it's
isekai,
a
bud.
core aspect of many isekai, but it's not an isekai.
I mean, it's not isekai. It's just tensei. It's just
I never said it was. I'm just saying
Right.
it's very reminiscent.
A la isekai is what you were saying, but
Yeah.
even still,
And it's
that
not just
implies bad.
well, I mean, Koda Soup is good, but yeah, that's
Mushoku
getting away
Tensei,
from the
like
point.
that word.
Yeah, yeah, Crunchy's a fan of that one too. And then you add on a little extra layer that not only is the son reincarnated, but also the daughter is a reincarnated person as well. And we the audience can pretty much figure out that it's this terminally ill patient of the gynecologist that was also a super fan of Eyes.
Mhm.
And somehow Aqua doesn't pick up on that immediately, despite this one scene where he straight up is like thinking about it, like, hey, these two are kind of similar, and then straight up says the patient's name, and to which she responds, being like, as if like her name was called. And he still goes like, nah, it's probably a coincidence. Like he doesn't think anything of it beyond that, which is the
Bro,
worst
we're
thing
so
about this
close.
episode.
To be fair, though,
He was so
To be
close
fair,
to
though,
figuring it out.
if you think from his perspective, she died like years ago. So like, why would she suddenly
Yeah.
reincarnate into?
But he got reincarnated.
Yeah, but he got
after
reincarnated
dying.
too, and while he doesn't know the person behind Ruby yet, they both know that they were both reincarnated.
Right.
So
but they died. Okay, I mean, he knows that she is reincarnated already, but like, I understand why he wouldn't know that she was the patient, because they died years apart. Why would she reincarnate like 5 years later, right?
yeah, but he died years apart from her being him
What?
being well,
No,
not
what?
years
No,
apart,
not
but like
years,
when,
like
Days.
20 minutes
Day
of
of,
like
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, day of, but like he's still immediately. And they're both super fans of Eyes, and he's like the patient Serena is like the only other person he knew that was as big a fan of
It
Eyes as
takes
he
no.
a
was.
few too many boxes.
oh no,
Yeah, it's like
I mean that's what
I get the reasoning. I just find it's a little too hand wavy.
I guess.
It would,
but then
you
we
know,
get to
you know
the-
what
the
it would have
third
been. It would have
layer.
been a lot better if he had just not figured it out so early, and called out her name. But then
Alright.
even after she responds,
I
like,
agree.
even if that was either cut out or they just acknowledge it and then because what is like lost from them figuring it out immediately, like they're
Future emotional moment, I guess. They want to keep a few things in the stew still about to boil over, so that you keep watching even after I dies, which is the third thing, the third part of the premise, where it straight up just becomes a thriller.
yeah, it becomes a murder mystery. We got to find out who the dad is. It's like the most extreme episode of Mari ever, where we're trying to find out who the father is, but except instead of having to care for the child, the son is just gonna fucking kill him.
Yeah, I love the shot. Another image that's gonna stick with me forever. It like has this filter over it where it looks almost sketchy, marker-ish or whatever.
Like everything is
while it's
animated.
zooming out of his eye. Yeah, it I think it's called boiling or whatever, where the lines are moving constantly, or squigglemation, whatever it's called. I think there's multiple terms for it. But
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
it looks really
no
cool.
trial, no nothing. He's just gonna find his father and fucking gut
which
him.
is based.
Yeah.
And what I want to comment on in regards to that, bouncing off of your point, Spuddle was talking earlier about how because there were so many aspects of this stew, he thought that this show was going to be bad, because he was like, bruh, there's no way they're going to make this all connect and make sense and work thematically. And the reason why that is on my mind is because recently I watched, me and Neon rather, both watched Suzume, which had a few too many ingredients in the stew that weren't connecting thematically either. But this one feels like everything is at least probably going to come together into a
I
satisfying.
enjoyed this better than Suzume. I'm not gonna lie. This is way better than Suzume.
Can I have a hot take?
I see where you got that from, but
Can I have a hot take?
yeah, it's like, I mean, okay, you can get your hot take out there.
I didn't really like Suzume.
I didn't
Fair.
enjoy it
I
that
mean,
much.
didn't
Neon
It's
didn't
okay.
either.
Ah.
I gave it an 8, but
I gave it a 6.
I mean, I still
Six.
acknowledge all its faults. But anyway, you can ask the question, like, okay, is there really a point in him reincarnating? Like, was there no way to rework the narrative to where he didn't reincarnate? And I mean, like, you can technically, but at the same time, I don't see how it loses anything by also having that layer of weird premise quirkiness in it. And like, I think that's just Aka Akasaka working his magic. Because Love is War also has a fantastic premise. Two tsunderes duking it out in some sort of over-the-top love battle. Like, that's like one of the most instantly watchable premises ever. And I think this guy just has a knack for ideas. And you know, you want to know the other thing I think it is? I think Aka Akasaka came up with like a billion different ideas for different stories and then was like, hey, I've got some time. You know, I'm about to wrap up Love is War or whatever. Like, I'm getting there. Why don't I just, like, put them all in the same story?
You think he did that?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, he's starting a new manga like just now, so
That's true.
this
He
dude,
is.
Madman.
this dude's got ideas.
Bro is an endless stream of ideas, which
Yeah,
is
and-
good, because not all shows have that, unfortunately.
yeah, not. There's not too many mangaka that can say that both of their anime adaptations, or at least their multiple adaptations of their own works, have been like knocked out of the park. Granted, of course, there's the small but unlikely possibility that somehow Dogakobo drops the ball horrendously, like into the fucking center of the earth, and the
All right,
rest of the
Neon,
show
I'm
turns
going
out
to
be shit.
assuage the fears that were barely there. From what I heard on Sakuga blog, right? Sakuga blog literally posted an article about Oshinoko today, and I read all of it. And apparently the animation director and, you know, a few key animators are, like, basically, you know, through their straight up prowess, they worked on things like Bocchi before, are helping to make sure this production isn't like that one Isekai housing show Dogakoba made as another offhanded example. Or even Shikimori. I know everyone else likes how Shikimori looks. I don't. I think it looks bad. Mediocre tops. This show looks good. And it's because these people are helping keep the production together. And of course, also each and every individual key animator and in-betweener who is bringing their talent to the show, despite the crammed schedule that every Dogakoba show unfortunately exists under.
Well, haven't
they're
you
doing
heard
a
the
great
news?
job.
Haven't you heard the news? This is the greatest anime of all time. If you look at the Mal charts, it surpassed Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Neon, you had to stop the sentence if you look at the Mal charts, because at that point nobody actually cared anymore.
That's happened like 10 times already. Like the past year.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey guys, did you know that Owari Monogatari Season 2 beat FMAB? Guys, it's better. Did you know that Steins Gate Zero beat FMAB? Guys, it must be the greatest show of all time. Did you know that Attack on Titan Season 3 Part 2, I think it was, beat FMAB? Guys, it must be the greatest show of all time.
I'm saying it facetiously, obviously, although in playing a little bit of devil's advocate, that doesn't just happen to literally every good show.
That's true.
Like,
That's true.
It didn't happen for as much hype and talk about that there was. It didn't happen to Chainsaw Man. It didn't happen to Bocchi. I don't think it happened for Demon Slayer. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think so.
Demon
It
Slayer's
didn't
too
happen
mid
for
to get that
JJK.
It did for Kaguya Season 3, though.
For a pretty long time,
Well,
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's Kaguya Season 3. That was inevitable.
Also, I genuinely think that it probably deserves its score, actually, because season 2 of Kaguya onwards is a 10 out of 10.
Agreed.
Agreed. I haven't seen Season 3, but I already agree with it.
Well, I think we could go on for longer about Oshinoko, but for the sake of time, because there's
It's
so
been
much.
an hour already.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like we need to
yeah,
stop
let's-
ourselves.
Yeah, so
Any last minute tiny thoughts that could be over in like a minute?
Oh, I was gonna say that I watched it in the Japanese cinema, so I'm extremely biased, probably.
No, yeah, you had the objective, superior way to consume
Yeah.
this episode. I wish that
That would've been
it was
amazing.
licensed by High Dive over in the States and not Crunchyroll, but they did shit with the Made in Abyss movie, so I don't they could have probably done something. I bet they're kicking themselves by not not doing it, because it definitely would have made the
Yeah.
rounds online.
Yep.
But yeah, that's
overall,
Oshinoko. That's
Oshinoko is the worst thing ever made.
yeah. No, it's a big recommend from all of us, I assume.
Yes. I love
Not
it.
me. Everything I said was a lie.
just like the idols.
Yeah, there we go. It comes full circle.
All right, well, Shamu, why don't you go ahead and take the next show on the list?
All right, Loving Yamada-kun. Actually, was pretty adorable. Do I need to give a synopsis for it?
Oh yeah, you could give like a synopsis and your brief thoughts.
There's Yamada-kun and Chihaya lookalike. I don't remember her name. They play like
Akane?
some like what Genshin Impact type beat.
It's like an
Okay.
MMO.
That's an insult to Genshin. How
Genshin
dare
Impact.
I don't know. I don't play Genshin, so that's my only reference.
you? I like Genshin.
But yeah, they're in the same team. She gets broken up, and she's heartbroken. So she fakes it. Now they're together or something. I don't know. It was really cute.
Did you watch this episode?
Wait,
How many episodes
Just the
did you
first one.
watch? Okay, they don't
Together.
get to.
It was
I
like
mean,
a-
pretend.
kind
to
It
get
was
together.
pretend, right?
She
Yeah,
pre-
okay.
she
Yeah.
pretends to be with him just to make her
Her ex
ex-boyfriend
Yeah.
angry, which is, by the way,
base.
absolutely based. I love that about her. So I'm not gonna lie, Yamada-kun, loving Yamada-kun at level 99. I hate this show's title. I hate saying it. I'll just say
Yeah.
Yamada-kun.
I agree.
But I really like it. There's just this one issue, right? This show, it's like barely within the realm of visual acceptability because it's Madhouse in 2023, and so of course it is. And the thing is, Morio Osaka, the director, he also did the directing for Ore Monogatari and Chihaya Furu.
And
He's
the
a good
entirety
director.
of Cardcaptor
He's
Sakura.
a visual. Yeah. I actually didn't know that. But he's very good at what he does. This show is well directed and looks way better than a lot of other Madhouse shows that have come out recently, and I would trace that back to the strength of the directing. Even if that one shot of her ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend together played like 5 times and I got kind of tired of it. Like, guys, I get it already. You don't need to show the shot every single time she's reminiscing about it. At least choose a different shot. But, you know, aside from that, I think it is visually very stellar. There's a lot of adorable expressions. It's very consistently good looking in everything except technical quality. You know, you can tell the strength of direction, it shines through, but Madhouse just ain't what it used to be. You know, it don't got the connections and presumably schedule talent that it used to. Although there is this one random good-looking cut of Yamada getting off her bed and sitting down to play the MMO that's just smooth as hell for no reason. I got a kick out of that. Whichever animator did that cut, you did good. Silence, so I will continue.
Silence.
Yamada is an endearing protagonist. Her whole
You mean
thing
Akane?
right now is Akane. Yeah, I mixed them up. Oops. Akane. She is very torn up about not Yamada.
Her
Keep on
ex.
mixing up the name. I saw this like 2 weeks ago for reference. Her ex. You know, she's really torn up about him leaving her, and so she, in purely out of spite, because she's just angry about being broken up with and lonely now, is just like, I'm gonna go to this convention. I forget exactly why,
It was
or like
for like something that
It was the anniversary of the game, and it's like a live event, kind of like the only thing I could think of in equivalency is like a Pokemon Go live day or shit or whatever it's called. I don't
Community Day or
know.
something
Oh.
like that.
Yeah, Community Day.
yeah, and she wants to like show her being happy with Yamada, this random guy she finds because she trips and falls. And so she's like, hey, look at how happy I am with him. And it's like, he doesn't even notice her. He's just so enraptured with Yamada because he's like apparently this epic gamer that he's obsessed with, which is great. It's fun seeing every petty little thing. Oh yeah, the reason why she went to the event in the first place was to show off her clothes. That was what it was. To be like, hey, I'm pretty, you missed out. It's
Yeah,
so
you see what you
petty,
left
but I
behind.
love it.
I was gonna accuse the show of being completely unrealistic, that if 2 gamers found each other, they would never fucking let each other go, because that's as good as either of them was ever gonna get. But then we find out that the guy left Akane for another girl inside of the game, so I was like, okay, you get a pass.
Admittedly, maybe that's too personal, but as someone who's been in a breakup before, yeah, she is not acting unrealistically, unfortunately.
The most relatable
Those were
thing
not great days.
from this
I related
episode,
to that, unfortunately.
the most relatable thing that happened to me that I saw in this episode was when she was like, "Oh yeah, well now of course he breaks up with me when I spend all this time and money on this game. I spent like 3,000 yen worth of in-game clothes." And I'm like, "Oh, that kind of hits close to home. I remember spending money on a thing that I wasn't too into for a girl, and then ended up breaking things off. I was like, all right, well, cool. I just wasted all this fucking money." So it was nice to be seen in that regard.
Yeah, overall, I will watch episode 2 of this and probably finish it someday. The only issue, it's so close to being true greatness, but Madhouse. A Madhouse.
It's
Why?
I think the
impossible to
animation's the
imagine.
problem.
It's not a problem, but like it is impossible to imagine Madhouse from like 15 years ago making this.
Okay, like, to put my standards into perspective, right? Ore Monogatari. Amazing rom-com, by the way. I absolutely love Ore Monogatari. Fantastic, love the characters. And it has such a crisp and unique visual identity, the super unique color palette. It just pops off the screen, very, very lively and bubbly and energetic. Same director. But the issue is, Madhouse back in the day either had more talent or better scheduling. And so, while Ore Monogatari has this very clear visual identity, the directing pulls through. It has way more of an identity than a lot of, your bog standard generic anime, but you can tell that if they had a better schedule or more talent on board, it would be as crisp looking as Ore Monogatari. What I'm envisioning in my head is the version of this show that was made 8 years ago and that looks phenomenal and that I love to bits. But instead, you kind of have to just overlook the animation and be like, yeah, it's not what it could be. It is like the bare minimum acceptable, with a more directorial flair than usual for this quality of art and animation. And that's about it. By the way, the OP of this show slaps. Did I mention that? It is
kind of
I love the OP.
I don't remember.
The OP is so good.
I don't remember it.
The chibi form.
It's not my favorite
Rewatch it.
Kanabu-san.
I absolutely love it to bits. Would be OP of the season, except Oshi no Ko kicked its ass.
I will say it's more of a personal touch thing, so I don't think it says much about the quality of the show. It's more so like just a me thing. I'm usually not a fan of anime where they have like the gamer and then they have like the chibis and like the in real life person in some like generic RPG MMO world's costume. Like you have you have Yamada in some armor or something, and they animate like that. I think I just don't like gamer anime. By gamer anime, I mean like the things where like nothing really happens. You just have some people playing a game, and it's always this like generic MMO game with some guild system, and it's always like there's always an elf, there's always a knight, like it's always the generic stuff. It's like, to me, that's almost no different than Isekai.
That is fair.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that.
I mean, I wouldn't say no different just because the gamer anime, to be fair,
there's less.
There's also Bofuri, which was totally like that. But, this one doesn't fixate on the game as much, at least so
That's
far.
true.
And I think it'll be only a recurring side element, so I think I'll be able to overlook that element of the show.
That's
But
what I hope.
You're not wrong.
That's what I hope. But
The most annoying visual element of the show for me was the constant use of like these. It's not onomatopoeia. It's just straight up words of like describing what characters are thinking or what is like being shown on screen. Or kind of like that's something you would see in a manga where instead of having the characters bring it up in conversation, it'll just be like a thing to depict or denote something that is happening.
Oh,
or
like text on screen.
Yeah, and it's
Well, see,
it's like,
I'm legally
not
allowed to hate on that because I'm Sangatsu no Line's my favorite show. I can't hate on it.
Well, the thing about that show is that was mostly
It was
onomatopoeia
stylized.
though, and like yeah,
Sure.
like but like this isn't onomatopoeia. This is just straight up words. This is like characters' thoughts, and like things that they're thinking and showing on screen. And it's just like in a manga, it's kind of cute.
Already did that. Also did that rather.
In a manga, it's kind of cute. In an anime where there's sound and people are talking, we can see movement. It's kind of distracting.
You know, I do kind of get where you're coming from, because I hate when anime does like the multiple panels on the screen type thing, because I'm like, you're not a manga. But personally, the words do not bother me. I think they're kind of, I wouldn't say cute, but just another thing that I guess makes it feel a little more spiced up, even if you can totally say it's from the manga, though. That it's not even a directorial quirk, it's from the manga. But I still think it livens it up just a little bit. But that's just me.
But the show is hard carried by how great Akane is as a character.
I agree.
She's real cute. She's real spunky, very petty. Just begging Yama to be like, please pretend to be my boyfriend so I can make my ex feel jealous. Please, I'll give you this fucking coupon code for a rare in-game item. Just do it. She also drinks, and that's super based.
Yes, I agree. She gets drunk to drink away her woes. Just like me for real in whenever I turn 21.
I can, in fact,
as soon as
her.
I do, that's gonna be me.
Or make her worse. Anyone have any final thoughts about Yamada-kun?
Nope. Akane is great. That's it.
All right, well, it's about that
Agreed.
time, fellas. We've got a whole
boy.
stretch, a whole
Let's
marathon
go.
to run. It's about that time again. Let's get ready to Isekai League!
Okay, so I've watched most of them. I didn't watch 2 of these.
I'm gonna be real with you. I physically cannot watch any more isekai. I saw about 5 minutes of 2 of these.
Wait, you're telling me I saw
and
the
also
most?
one of them that wasn't actually an isekai. Yeah, you saw the most.
Yeah,
of
I watched like 5 to 10 minutes of some of these episodes. I'll tell you which ones that I tapped out in or started skimming.
Oh god.
I did also do some skimming.
I skimmed through 2 that I wasn't interested in and watched the entire episode for the rest and enjoyed it. So,
Alright, so in the interest of time, we'll probably end up speedrunning some of these, so let's get started with, I got a cheat skill in another world and became unrivaled in the real world too.
Well, it's unfortunate that we're speedrunning these, because I had a whole rant prepared for this one.
Oh, go
on.
go ahead.
Isekai has broken me. On November 22nd, 2012, bear with me, Mushoku Tensei began serialization as a web novel. It was not the first isekai by any means, but it's like what most of the genre is cribbing from, right? Now, you could also accuse Mushoku Tensei of being a power fantasy, and to that I say, I'm gonna kill you. I'll smack you. You suck. Because even though Rudius is arguably overpowered at the beginning of the series, he has to work his ass off to get that way. And even then, he not only has personality flaws, but limits to how strong and cool he actually is. Basically, Mushoku Tensei is not about someone being overpowered and proving to everyone how cool and sexy he is. It's about a flawed person who failed in his prior life, beginning a new one with a head start. All this is to say that isekai nowadays is written by people who read Mushoku Tensei and got to the part where he casts the rain spell and went, hee hee, I want to be powerful like that. Herder, I love how powerful and cool Rudius is. While not understanding any of the reasons why they wanted him to be powerful in the first place. Most isekai are exactly the same in this regard, to the point where I don't really need to justify why I think that way. And sometimes they're a little different, sure. Many isekai also have some dumbass gimmick to set them apart. Isekai cheat skill, or rather one of the many isekai about cheat skills, has the gimmick of the main character being able to return to the main world. Judging from the title, I didn't get that far. Wow, I care so much. No, I don't. Because if your show's about a cheat skill, unless you're One Punch Man, you already missed the point. And the thing is, cheat skill isn't even the worst isekai out there. It has actually good directing and decent production values. Even
Yeah.
if it looks like Mappa on a
Yeah,
discount.
yeah.
It is
Whoa,
discount
no,
Mappa.
whoa, Crunchy. I'm sorry. Repeat what you just said to my fucking face.
It has actually good directing and decent production values.
It does.
Okay,
Except for the
okay,
one
hold
shot.
on.
The one shot that is seared into my brain of the people who, like, walked up to... Or no, we're beating up the main character, and then they run away in place.
I remember
made
that.
me
I remember
laugh.
that.
Out loud.
I remember that too. Although
Uncontrollably.
I have a counterpoint to offer you. This show is some of the worst directing I've ever seen in a TV anime in quite some time.
Okay,
What?
lay it on me. We'll interrupt the rant, and you tell me why it's the worst directing ever.
This framing is god awful. Characters are like weird, cut off at weird, like the tops of their heads, and like everyone, there's like way too many close-ups. It's like all the framing is all wrong.
I do remember one close-up that was like, that's kind of cringe, admittedly. It looks better than most, like your standard show, I will say. It has like above average directing for what I remember. Maybe I was just watching this like with my brain turned off or something somehow.
You must.
I
have
remember it
been.
actually looking pretty okay in the directing department.
This was the first.
I typed in cheat isekai and then got like a dozen others, so I won't even be able to. Okay, there we go. I found it. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. Wait, no, is this... Okay, this is the one. I thought it was the wrong one for a second, which I think says more than anything in my rant could.
Yeah, the Crunchy, you cannot convince me that the show by the studio that made Berserk 2016 has good directing.
I mean, it's not about the studio, it's about the staff you get on board, right? And the staff does have a pedigree from what I've been shown on Twitter from one person replying to me saying that the show was actually decently directed.
That man is a
but-
liar.
They're
I
probably
thought it looked fine.
conflated
I
with
just
the
think
character designs of the characters. They stand out a lot more.
The character design. Hold
Like
on, what?
they all look like Death Note characters or something.
They don't.
It looks
look like Death
different.
Note
What?
characters.
It looks different.
Okay,
It, like,
now
looks-
it's your
No,
turn
as
to
in,
be
like, not
tripping.
like-
Because the main character looks like Walmart Naofumi once he sheds those pounds.
but like he looks the same as all the other characters, and none of them like mesh with the background art at all. Like there's like it felt weird while I was watching.
Yeah, 'cause it looks like fucking shit.
Yeah.
I still maintain it looks like discount Mappa.
Yeah, that's
That is the best way. I can put it.
That's an insult to Mappa.
Well, I mean, it's discount.
Discount's
has-
too nice of a word. This is dumpster Mappa.
It's
This
not
is like the
that
kind that
bad.
the discount Mappa
I
expired
feel like
and they
you're
threw it in the
overhyping
trash
how
and you.
bad this
It's
show
not
looks.
that
There-
bad.
you can get way worse than this.
The character art is not great. The backgrounds are shit. The
character
directing
art
is
is
awful.
actually pretty solid. They just don't move a whole lot.
I agree.
The story is fucking garbage.
Well, yeah, because it's an isekai.
The main character is comically like woeful and downtrodden and beaten upon.
Ah, yeah, they like give him like
Okay, that was
everything.
actually standing out to me because it's. I kept on waiting for the moment where it stopped, where we'd be like, okay, we established that he's a loser and that he gets beat up on by society unfairly. Now we can get to the part where he flips the tables. It just keeps on going. His grandpa died. His grandpa was the only person in his family who loved him. His mom and dad hate him. His brother and sister hate him. They're better looking than he is. He's fat. He gets beat up by some dudes on the street because he tried to save a girl. He gets bullied in school constantly. He's like walking and monologuing. I'm like,
He just got
okay,
fired
maybe
from
we're
his
gonna
job.
get to something. Did he?
Yeah.
No, he's still in school.
No, he had a part-time
part-time, got
newspaper
fired.
He had a
delivery job.
Okay.
But he got fired.
Okay. I must have missed that in the deluge of unfortunate happenings. Because, he's walking around school and then he gets tripped and everyone's laughing at him. All the pretty girls and the cool guys are laughing at him. And I'm like, this is so overkill.
this is over.
You did not need to go that hard. Like, I'm getting flashbacks to in No Game, No Life. We get the sense that the main two characters Sora and Shiro, we get, they tell us their philosophy about life. We see that they are a hikikomori. Excuse me, I need to get my pronunciation right. And from that, we are able to infer that they have spent their lives isolated and presumably, like not very high on the social totem pole. And they've gotten used to it and, have learned to hate society. We feel that. In this show, we see it in the most comically overblown way imaginable.
We have to, so that way the loser virgin incel audience can relate to the loser virgin incel fat main character.
See, I'm a very pessimistic guy and haven't always gotten I'm not the most sociable. So when I watched No Game No Life, I was like, damn. I hate to say this, guys, but they're kind of just like me for real. This show is like, why? Why would I even ever want to relate to this guy? There's nothing good about him. Why would I want to insert into him?
He saves girls who get harassed at the local 7-Eleven, Crunchy. Because he's brave enough to do the things that some of the audience isn't brave enough to do themselves. But they think they would if given the opportunity.
I'm sure there's one guy in Japan that
I
relates.
just hate everything.
Yeah, and
I
that guy
hate everything
is
about
like,
this show.
should call the suicide
You know what?
prevention
I
hotline.
hate everything about Isekai. It's not even this show, because they're all the same. Every single one of them is the same. All the Isekai and the native Isekai, they're all just the same. Because like I was saying earlier during my rant that got cut off, but I don't even care anymore. Like, if you're making a show about a cheat skill, unless you're One Punch Man, you missed the point. You already failed the assignment on that point alone. Like, I don't even need to watch the show. I can see that it has cheat skill in the title, like so many other of these godforsaken shows, and be like, oh, it's gonna be bad, based off of that alone.
This is entertaining. Go on. Go on.
It is absolutely, like, I am so sick and tired of Isekai. Isekai is genuinely the worst genre I have ever had the displeasure of knowing about, and I feel bad for giving it as many words as I have in this segment. It does not deserve this many words. I did not finish the first episode of Cheat Skill, and honestly, I didn't bother with most of the rest of these shows because they're all the same. I already know what I'm gonna say. Every single season, I go through the same show over and over again. It's like ReZero but bad, and even people who hate ReZero would probably agree with that. It's like this endless time loop. I am stuck in Steins Gate, except every season, I'm watching new Isekai, but they're the exact same thing. Deja vu over and over again. Maybe one of these is actually good. Maybe one of them I skipped is the masterpiece, Mushoku Tensei 2. And maybe I'm missing out and yada yada, but I'll watch it when y'all tell me it's at least half as good as Mushoku Tensei. Dear listeners, I've given up on Isekai, and I suggest you do the same.
Anyways, I love Isekai.
Kill yourself.
Welcome to the podcast. I hope you're having a good time. Hope it will make you feel at home.
I agree with everything you said, except I'm still gonna finish all the shows, I think.
You're gonna
What?
finish
You're
them?
gonna finish them?
I finished most Isekais.
Do you need to call the suicide prevention hotline?
Therapists in Japan. And search. So I'm just gonna send you
It's never too late to get
might
help, man.
be Neo, let's put
Fine.
like the national suicide hotline in the description of this video. I think Red Joker needs it.
I mean, I'm not gonna defend the show, but every single isekai has that one gimmick. Like, they do this nowadays, right? Every isekai is the same, except there's this one gimmick. There's always one gimmick. I'm like, let's
He's
see what the- let's
he's
see-
just like Kazu. He's just like Kazu. Hey guys, it's different. The eyes are red instead of green.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, okay, show me. And then I watch it. I'm like, well, it's not good, but I'm entertained, so I'll watch it.
I'm not even entertained is the thing. I just, because like, even among the shitty isekais of this like cheat skill nature, there's probably, I can't be fucked to think of one off the top of my head right now, but there's probably one that's better than this one. Not that I would like watch it in general, but if I were forced to like watch a shitty cheat skill isekai, I'd not pick this as my first one.
I mean,
There
which
was-
one would you pick? They're all so samey. I cannot even remember any. I know I've seen Cheat Skill Isekai before, and
I'm
I
pretty
think
sure there's one called
barely
Isekai
remember
Cheat Magician.
Skill. See, I remember that title. I could not tell you what it was about.
It says it right there in the title. It's their fucking Isekai Cheat Magician.
And there you go. That's the end of it.
That's the thing about Isekai. Their premises are summed up in their fucking titles.
And from the title alone, I can tell I don't ever want to watch it.
It's funny, so I'll watch it. The title's so bad. So I love it.
But before we move on to the next show, is there anything like intelligible that we want to say about the show before we move on?
Oh, I will
I feel
say
like I was
I'm
fairly intelligible there.
I will say I'm probably finishing this one because it has my favorite Seiyu, so I'll watch it.
Has your favorite scene?
Say
Seiyu, voice
voice
actress.
actor,
Voice
okay.
actor. Yeah. So,
Which one?
Kito Akari. Nezuko
wh-
Seiyu.
Which
is the
character
main
did they
girl.
play? Oh, is it the one that
the
got
girl that-
harassed?
Yeah, the one that got harassed.
Okay. She didn't really have a character
So-
in that one until the very end, so I didn't really.
Well, she's
register.
going to. Hopefully.
Yeah, I can
And
tell
then
she's
the,
going to.
And the main guy is Tsugu, so I also love him, so I'll probably finish it.
Nah, I'm not so voice actor pilled that like,
All right.
considering they
You-
do so many shows anyway.
You know what? I'm sure Red Joker will just cream his pants, drool all over the place when he hears about the show. The Almighty Prince gets reincarnated as a lollycat girl and hones his farming skills upon joining the Demon King's army after being kicked out of the Heroes Party and unexpectedly becomes incredibly overpowered while really just chilling and taking it easy in another world.
Someone should write this.
I wrote that down because I wanted to write it for April Fools, and I had to go through my personal Discord server to find the title again.
All right, well, I think it's in the interest of time we can move on to the next one. Joker, go ahead and take Summon to Another World for a second.
Another world for a second time. Well, you know, he was summoned to another world, and then he went back to the real world, and I guess lived a normal life for a few years. And then he was summoned to another world for a second time! Yay!
Well, it's so different from the rest of them, because he can go to a second world. Wait, Shield
Well,
Hero
see-
did that, didn't it?
See.
No, he goes
Yeah,
back
the
to the
same
same world.
No, world. The same. So
Okay.
he goes to the same. So basically, he gets Isekai there. He saves the world. He has this entire party. He knows everyone there. He saved the world, and then he gets, I guess, he goes back to the real world. And after just living a normal life for a while, he goes back to the Isekai. But you know, since he's been there, he knows everything, and he knows all the people, and he has connections and everything, which was pretty interesting because I've never seen it before. So, I mean, by the end of the first episode, I could see what direction it was going in. It's probably going in generic adventuring isekai direction.
Yeah,
I think.
but
I was gonna say,
but I did like the idea of like he already has connections there. I did find that pretty interesting. Like he knew everyone there.
I was gonna say by the end of the first episode, it seemed like since they're leaving all the other characters, all like the whole class gets isekai'd with him the second time, including his
Yeah.
childhood friend. But he's leaving all of them behind to go on this journey with with his party of old, and so it seems like all right. So functionally, this is still going
No,
like
his-
the same as nothing has changed.
his-
This is the same as every other
His
isekai.
party of old is also being left behind. So it's just him.
Oh, okay. Well,
What's the point of him already knowing everything? Like you
I
could
don't
you could just have
know.
him do it the first time.
I
Like,
don't
what's so
know.
much better about the second time? That feels so
Well, just-
either redundant
just-
or an excuse to make him overpowered.
I
That's
like
what
the
it feels like.
I enjoy the conversations where he goes back because it's like him talking to an old friend. That's entertaining.
yeah, it's very entertaining when he
Yeah.
encounters his old friend, the royal blue-haired night girl, and jogs her memory by slapping her ass, and then reawakening her masochism, being like, "Oh my God, it is you, Koshuzin-sama. Please sit on me,"
It's like-
and he does.
It's like Darkness from Konosuba.
Yeah,
I'm
except
so glad
worse.
I didn't watch this because I would have had an aneurysm at that scene. I would have fallen down to the floor, spazzing out, literally
Have a
like
seizure.
foam at my mouth, like I have rabies, just shaking on the floor uncontrollably. There's a similar scene from an isekai that I did watch, that I did in fact do that for. Exactly. This is Crunchy Bagel's canon. We'll get to that.
Before we-
go ahead.
Before we move on, I'd like to point out that I'm not defending most of these shows. They're not good, but I just find like one or two specific things entertaining, and then I just keep watching, and then I finish it. That's usually what happens.
You know what, Red Joker? What you have is a superpower that I wish I had. The ability to watch anything and still find something to get out of it. I'm not even being facetious here. I genuinely want that power. Give it to me.
I genuinely enjoy like 95% of anime I watch nowadays, so...
I wish I was like that.
I
I enjoy like 2 shows a season and then only watch those.
The last thing I want to say about this show is that it's definitely a step up from Studio L's last output, which was Ghibli 8, which is one of the worst anime of all time.
Ghibli 8.
How's
it spelled?
Or actually, my mistake is it's probably pronounced like Gibby 8 or something. It has a 3.81 on Mal,
Oh.
and you have
that's
to earn that. Like scores between a 6 and a 7, like those are a dime a dozen. You have to earn something like below a 5.
How's it spelled?
Gibiate.
Okay, I was adding the letter 8. And that's where I got wrong. 32% on Annulus.
Yeah, it's some dog
What
ass.
happens? How far
Is
did
it like
you
an
get,
X
Neon?
arm?
It's not that bad, but it is ass. It is genuinely one of the worst anime I've ever seen. It is of the year
How
it
far
came
did
out.
you get?
I watched the first episode and I was like, wow, this is awful. And this compare like if we're judging this studio by like graduating from a show that's like as garbage as Ghibli to this schlock, then it's like this is like a massive step up in quality. This one I could actually sit through the first episode, and while there's stupid
You could
isekai
sit through the
bullshit in
first.
it, I didn't watch. I started skimming
isekai?
after. I started skimming after the first 5
good.
minutes, but could like imagine myself sitting through it as opposed to Ghibli, which would be like I would like hate anime if I finished this one.
But like, doesn't it get so bad to the point where it's just good because it's entertaining?
I mean, the only notable thing about Ghibli 8 is that I think it came. Crunchy, you have the page pulled up. What year did it come out?
Ghibli, 2020.
Okay, at the time it came, it is about these samurai guys who like get pulled from back in time to the modern day, where a virus has a pandemic of a virus has wiped out most humanity and like mutated people into monsters. So it had unfortunate poor timing for its release, but
Say it, please.
even disregarding that, it was just ugly, poorly animated, horrendous CG everywhere. It's just not good, but that's neither here nor there. Shamu, you have anything to say about Summon to Another World for a second time?
I was like pleasantly like surprised that I saw an animator that I really liked ended up doing the ED for this. Nichika Ono. They love planes. They did the ED, I believe, of Kaguya-sama. Season 1. I could be wrong.
Ooh.
So like that was like a pleasant surprise, but other than that, I have nothing to say of the episode proper.
Yeah, I've expended everything else I wanted to say.
Now it's time to talk about the masterpiece, the myth, the legend, the reason why Raeliana ended up at the Duke's mansion. Who wants to take us away here?
First, I need to take this one because I need to call out Japan on their bullshit, on their racism. They fucking Japan washed the shit out of this. So this was actually a manhwa adapted by Typhoon Graphics, the studio behind the legendary masterpiece that is One Room. So it's a shame to see them fall from grace like this and fall into this this xenophobia that is being displayed before us right now. They for like no reason aside from the probably logical one of that they want to appeal to a Japanese audience, but for as little as it matters because this is only in it for like 2 minutes. The Korean character is named Park Eun-ha. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not too good with Korean pronunciations. But in the anime, they changed her name to Rinko Hanasaki. They made her Japanese, and they changed it from she was a girl living in modern-day Korea to South Korea to modern-day Japan. And everything else about the story is the same. That's the only thing they changed. They Japan washed her.
I didn't know that.
They de-Koreanized her.
So Neon, is this actually a good show?
The most interesting thing about the show is everything not having to do with the show.
Okay.
The two most interesting. I don't care about the. Even though it's a stretch to call this a villainous, like a show in the villainous genre, because I'm pretty sure that the character that she becomes in this novel isn't the villain of the story. She's just a plot device that. Yeah, she gets killed. Yeah. She's not like necessarily evil, but it's essentially the same thing. Instead of being evil, she's just a background. She's a plot device character.
I saw
a
Otome game, Isekai trends light novel thing. Although actually this is a manhwa, like you said, but I saw that and was like, no,
it wasn't based off a game. It was an Otome game. It was based off a novel. So
a novel. Oh, there we go. It's completely different. I should watch it now.
The other interesting thing about it is that the opening kind of bangs.
Yeah.
And I looked into who the artist was, and it's this Thai YouTuber named Minda Rin who started out singing covers of anime songs, and now she's like officially partnered with like a Japanese record label deal. And
That's cool.
She sings songs for shows like Reincarnated Slime, Sakugan, Ari Fueta, and this one is her most recent one. It reminded me of when Skeleton Knight and Another World came out in the I was surprised to see that the opening was sung by Pelik, who's a German YouTuber who sings anime cover songs.
Yeah.
Poor souls.
Yeah.
I feel so bad.
But yeah, those are the most interesting things about it. Other than that, it's just a pretty generic faux villainous isekai genre show. I do find it fascinating that she is depicted with a gun. I think that's how these isekais are trying to win me over. They're just showing between stuff like this and saving 80,000 gold in Another World for my retirement. They just depict isekai girls with guns, and that's how they get me to be like, all right, maybe I'll watch.
As a
more than
fellow
5
American
minutes.
myself, that is very awesome.
The song in the opening is really good though, and I'm sad that's not on American iTunes just yet. As far as the story goes, main girl who's real sad because she's not getting accepted into any university that she applied for, finally gets accepted to one, only to be approached by some random dude that she can't quite make out who it is, and he pushes her off the roof to her death. But just before she hits the ground, she winds up as Raeliana, the murdered plot device girl in one of her favorite novels, and she makes it a mission to like, I'm not gonna get killed a second time, baby. So she tries to avoid getting killed by her fiance, just like in the novel, by trying to win the charms of this Duke character. And I've described every otome villainous isekai. So yeah.
Well, there's
I don't watch
that.
a lot of otome. I don't watch a lot of otome or shoujo stuff, but when I do, I always like it. So also,
I mean, I like shoujo, just not this.
I will say this:
Not the
I was
soap
actually
genre.
a big fan of the score. It was surprisingly really good and pleasant, and that plus the intrigue of her like maybe fighting back with guns and shit is kind of appealing. But I just like am so not a fan of the villainous genre at all. It's just it's hard for me to get invested.
Overall, didn't watch, but didn't care in the first place.
I'm finishing it, probably.
You poor soul.
Shamu, do you
I'll
have
enjoy
anything to
it.
say about this one?
Not really. Outside of like the first time that we see the other world, like that kind of had nice movement, but other than that, like, yeah. I mean, I didn't like Villainous
is-
when I first watched it, like in 2020. So it is what it is. Just not
Yeah.
my cup of tea.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
now we
yeah,
get
Crunchy,
to
go ahead and
watch
take the
something
next
that is
one.
actually at least a few people's cup of tea. The legendary hero is dead. Now, admittedly, I thought this was an isekai when I first saw it on the list, and I was like, I'm not watching that. And then Neon posted a screen cap of it in hosts only chat, and I was like, whoa, what show is that from? I assumed just some garbage isekai, and he's like, no, it's actually like kind of good, and you should go watch it. It's
I
like the
never
least
said
bad of
that
the isekai.
specifically.
Okay, you said it was like the least bad of the isekai adjacent.
I was trying
slash
to
fantasy shows.
I was trying to be
we
coy about
watched.
my opinion because I actually kind of really like this show.
See, that's the surprising part. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch for like 5 minutes of this and then inevitably drop it because that's what always happens. I see legendary hero in the title and I'm like, no, and then I watch it and I'm like, actually, kinda yes.
Of
It
all
is
the shows
surprisingly
so
good.
far, this one has gotten me to laugh the most.
Yeah, so
that's
the entire
surprising.
premise of this show is that, spiritual successor of the detective is already dead. The legendary hero actually starts off the show quite alive and kicking. And there's this monster that appears at their village, I'm kind of skipping ahead here, but the legendary hero is trying to seal away these monsters. He did it once, then they escaped again, which is kind of funny on its own that, the legendary hero, despite being this cool badass, just kind of flubbed it and let all the monsters out. But he's rounding them all up again. So he kills a monster and gets the main girl to love him and all that. But the main guy, who is just this complete self-obsessed tights fetishist who don't care about nothing but himself, has made this trap to defend them from the monsters. And he's cooking beef to lure the monsters towards his trap because they're about to attack his childhood friend. And so the legendary hero kills the monster, then is like, oh, look, there's steak. I love meat so much, and then falls in the trap and dies.
Yeah, he sets like a
He literally
fucking
dies.
Viet Cong Punjabi steak like level trap with bamboo shoots in a pit, and and he just fucking like falls into it like a Looney Tunes character and it dies. Like this legendary hero was able to defeat demons and probably like, I don't know, fight the demon king and some shit. Just fucking bites it due to this one farm guy's cartoon trap.
It's so good.
And the
from there on
comedic
out,
the comedic timing of the show is surprisingly immaculate. The joke that got me to laugh the hardest, like right out the gate, was when the main farmer dude Toka, he's picking these really plump radishes as a farmer, and he's so down bad for legs and thighs that he can't help but put stockings on the radishes and pretend that they're like really supple legs. And then his childhood friend comes over and just like, what the fuck are you doing? That's so creepy. You're the only person in this village who would do something so weird with radishes. And like there are these two villagers who are walking by at the time who also have stockings on radishes that they just like tuck away in their pockets.
That made me that was what made me resolve to watch the entire episode, because I was like, wait, hold on. That's not a joke you make if you don't know what you're doing.
I also love how they frame the hero falling into the pit. It's not like in a schlocky hacked out show like made by people who don't know what they're doing. The hero's death would have been played like super seriously, and like he would have like fallen in slow motion. The screen would have gone from like the color grading would have gone to either black and white or like red for blood and some shit. And, like all the characters would have like slowly changing expressions, and then they become horrified. But no, he just like walks towards it, like turns into like this little like smear that drops down in like half a second, and we don't even hear like the shink of the stakes going through his body. We just see him fall, and then the character's like, there's no way he like actually fell for that, right? Then they look down, it's like, oh, yeah, he's dead. And that's how I knew the show was like, it was more than what I thought it'd be.
And from here on out, the main character, who, by the way, is great. He's just such an asshole. I love him. He becomes the legendary hero because this silver-haired witch who, for some reason, has a runny nose all the time. I don't get why that is, but don't need to question it because she body swaps him with the corpse of the legendary hero. And so now and by the way, the silver-haired girl is under the impression that he, like, bested the hero through trickery, and is actually, like, super good, when actuality, he has so little mana that the body that he has been swapped with, he doesn't have enough mana to, like, actually swap with it and stop the corpse from rotting. So he is literally a zombie, just rotting away in real time, and it's so disgusting, but it's so great. And he gets into all sorts of wacky mischief. The village is out to get him. I'm gonna stop talking and let Red Joker go.
Oh no.
Oh, you weren't gonna go?
This is one of the ones that I skimmed through, actually.
Why?
No
Hold
way.
on. Why?
You gave
Hold on.
fucking cheat isekai a full episode, but this one you gave the, you know what, I think I'm just gonna skim.
Because I don't like comedy anime, so when I saw it was just full-on comedy, I'm like,
Yeah,
I
I don't like
fun.
comedy
I
anime.
just don't
What
like-
else do you
I
not
don't
like?
think-
Happiness?
I don't like sunshine, I don't like puppies.
I never laugh at comedy anime.
So, like, when you watch Bocchi the Rock, you just, like, straight face nothing. You felt
Wait,
nothing,
no.
no pulse.
Bocchi is the only show one of the only shows I've ever laughed at.
Kaguya.
No. I don't think. Not really.
Why?
You didn't laugh at-
Why?
I did not laugh watching the entire Konosu.
Do you have a soul? Like, do you actually need to see a therapist? It is no longer ironic.
Earlier I was joking. You know what? I'm sorry for telling you to kill yourself. I think you're about to do it. Anything's gonna push you to do it.
I don't know. I don't think anime comedy is that funny. Other than Bocchi. I laugh my ass off on Bocchi. But other than that, like, I didn't watch Bocchi for the comedy. At first.
You
at least.
didn't?
I
Well,
mean,
not at first.
Yeah,
I
I didn't at
okay,
first
okay.
either.
Fair.
But...
That's fair. But even still, like, as you go on,
As I went on, I still liked all the serious performances.
yeah,
and
I liked
everything,
it
more,
too,
more than the
but-
comedy. So yeah.
you're just deranged.
Shemu, did you watch any of this one?
I did, but I mean, yeah, I thought it was funny. I did enjoy it, so I do have a little bit of a soul, you know.
Not quite like Red Joker.
I have a soul. My soul's in a different
Mm.
place.
in the isekai.
It's being held by the
I
necromancer.
just don't have a funny bone.
But yeah,
I
My
don't know.
soul's just not in the comedy area.
Well, it seems like then that's wrapping up discussion on this one. But the last thing I want to say about this show is that it is also a contender for one of the best openings of the season. Surprisingly, it's really funky and stylish.
I don't remember.
I like the song generally. I don't think it's playlist worthy, although maybe I need a few more listens. The visuals, at the beginning they're great, but they kind of meander. As
I
it
like
goes
the
on.
crazy ass neon color palettes.
Well, yeah, that's the part I like, but like specifically at the beginning where it's showing each bit of the text of the title, that is lovely, and I thought it would be like a phenomenal OP when I saw that. And then the rest of it played out, and I was like, this is like kind of. It's not clip selection, so you're automatically not the worst type of OP, but it's kind of not particularly memorable. Not quite like the Oshinoko OP, or what was the other OP? Oh yeah, the Yamada OP. That one also has like solid directing and just memorable shots of the one of the two characters walking as all the locales go by. Oh no. Yeah, this one just didn't have the energy in the visuals that I would have liked.
Yeah, the animation of the show is kind of maybe even a little below average, or like at the very least the super
Depends on your definition
baseline.
of average.
At best, it's like super baseline, acceptable.
It's slightly worse
it's being-
looking than Yamada, so that puts it
Yeah.
into perspective.
Yeah, but I think it's getting hard carried by its expression work. I feel like the art is it's weird because like the characters themselves are the designs I'm a little iffy on. Some of them are. I'm not big on the best friend girl's design, but when she makes like all these disgusted expressions, that's when I'm on board.
I think the main girl's design is pretty good, but not great. The main guy I remember as looking distinct for a protagonist in a show of this caliber, much more distinct than I expected from the show. I'll put it that way.
It kind of feels like an anime from the late 2000s, if that makes any sense. That's the vibe I got watching the episode. It felt a little nostalgic.
The monsters do look like kind of like the Bleach monsters. I'll give you that.
That's about all I got to say about this one. I surprisingly enjoyed it and would consider continuing it. Alright, the next show on the list is the Aristocrats' Otherworldly Adventures Serving Gods Who Go Too Far.
Did not watch.
It's an EMT squared show with it's Isekai trash, but this time it's got a weird Shota babying fetish.
Wait, hold on. Now I gotta watch it.
What? Wait. There's something you need to tell us, or
All right, listen. I did like Sonohara-san. I must admit that about myself. But nah. This is probably isekai garbage. I looked at the title and was like,
No,
not watching that one.
In the opening, the guy gets reincarnated into like the body of a kid, and he's a teenager in the real world. He dies and he becomes this child, and he's like hanging out with both girls his age at that time, and also there's a bunch of older women who like chase after him with hearts in their eyes and like are clearly seen hugging him and rubbing up against him a little too much. It's like it's very sus. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's a line in somewhere in the first episode about the mom of the isekai kid wanting to offer him like her teat.
It's sus, just like in that one game.
Yeah, it's at one point when the kid is checking like his surroundings and his new body as a kid. Like I think this is when he's like a really young kid at the time, like probably 4 at most. He's like lifting his pants to his waistband to check his dick, and a maid girl walks in and then thinks that he must like wet the bed. And so she's like, "All right, let's get those dirty clothes off you." And she like takes the pants off him, and he goes, "Yeah," like that kind of shit. It's like that's when I tapped out. And I was like, "Nah, I know where this is going, and I don't want to be a part of this."
There are ways in which I don't mind it. Specifically Monogatari. Yeah, if you're not Monogatari, no, die.
Did anyone else have any words about this show? There's not a lot to say about it.
This was the other one I skimmed through just because there was no gimmick. It was just trash isekai, so I'm like, I've seen this before.
Well, the gimmick is that everyone in this world is a pedophile.
all the girls want to fuck this kid.
I don't know why
But
he
yeah.
had to hide his stats. I didn't understand that part.
I don't think I even got to that point.
True?
I
Trying
tapped
to
out.
understand anything in an isekai is simply above all of us, frankly.
See, now we move on from a Shota babying fetish isekai to a weird Brokon One-sama fetish isekai with my one-hit kill sister.
My story
wait,
with this
wait.
show... Okay, I'll let you go.
I'm a siscon, so I love this.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Red Joker,
Yes.
my man! Yes, I finally have someone else to talk to! Let's go!
You know, it's moments like these when I think back to that legendary article or like post or whatever it was where the Ero manga sensei / Orihimo author is not on speaking terms with his sister, and just imagine like if Crunchy or I don't know if you have a sister, not Joker, but
I have two sisters.
All right, well that's even weirder then. 'Cause, like,
You know what, Red Joker? That just makes it even more based. I'll dig myself this hole. I'll gladly fall into it. I'll
this
fall
is from
in there like the legendary hero did.
this is a new show from a new studio called Gecko, directed by this guy named Hiroaki Takagi, a key animator on Komi-san, Goblin Slayer, and Onimai. So I guess it shouldn't come as too much of a surprise that he's into this shit. Crunchy, did you happen to come across Hiroaki Takagi's name when you're researching for your current video on Bind?
I wrote down so many names that they're all a blur, but he might very well be on there. But my experience with this show was, in English it's called One Hit Kill Sister. So I was like, that actually sounds like a cool title. That sounds like something I'd want to watch.
Oh yeah,
That
I
sounds
love Do You Love Your
interesting.
Mom and her 2-hit target kill attacks, whatever the show's called.
But I typed in the show's title into Anime Pahe and hold on, cut that out.
In Minecraft.
Into the Minecraft search bar, right? And so, mind you, I have no idea what the show is about at this point. I haven't even checked it on AniList. And so, I see the Japanese title, because Crunchyroll, Minecraft, Tetris displays the title in Japanese. And I saw Isekai and immediately clicked off. And could not handle having
you
to
didn't
watch it.
Wait, we just bonded over it. You didn't watch it?
No!
We just
You betrayal,
We had
the
a
ultimate
bonding
betrayal.
moment, but I cannot...
My
However-
brother!
Wait, listen, bonding moments aren't gonna get me to watch Isekai.
No! How dare you?
This is like
Betrayal.
Shakespearean.
Absolute
and
betrayal.
two
Betrayal,
Crunchy.
the bagel trail.
So this one's about a kid who pushes some little girl out of the way from an oncoming car. Gets it's not Truck-kun this time, it's Car-kun. And he dies, and he explicitly mentions that he's sad that he died before the new Armored Core game came out, which lines up with the fact that there is in fact a new Armored Core game coming out soon. So yeah, this is a bigger tragedy than Oshi no Ko. This is definitely sadder. It's not gonna get to
I
experience the
agree.
new FromSoft game.
Sounds way sadder.
This one got me like pissed off the most out of all the isekai this season, because I want to
What?
fucking smash something every time a shitty isekai tries to get meta with its like with how much of it like it knows about its own genre and like tries to feel clever about it.
I don't mind. It is what it is.
Depends on the
care.
execution. I mean, it depends on how subtle you're being about it.
They're
Monogatari- I'll
not
bring that up, but
subtle,
Monogatari
not
is
subtle at
kind
all.
of-
The main guy is like,
Yeah.
oh, is this one of those like reincarnations into a fantasy world that's real popular in light novels right now? It's just like kill yourself.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. I would have gritted my teeth at that.
But
Is
there's a
one of
sister,
is
you
this
know?
one of those things that I'm going to do verbatim, just as boring as the rest of them? You know what? You only get permission to do that when you're actually good. When you're good, you have permission to say, hey, rest of the genre, you exist, and I'm better than you. That's
Yeah.
what you need to do.
So the gimmick
But
with
there's a
this
sister.
one, the gimmick with this one
True.
is that when the guy's in trouble, he thinks about his family and like thinks about his sister that he liked, and was like, oh, I wish my sister were here. And then she comes and like she's the overpowered one because she's like got all the power to like, I'm going to protect my little brother who she is very clearly in love with and wants to
Yes.
fuck.
Yes. That's the best part.
It's like I don't know, man.
It probably is. Knowing it's an isekai, it probably is.
That's the best part. Wait, I will say I was impressed that there was a non CGI dragon. There was a hand drawn dragon, and I was impressed.
I did also
That's-
make
I
a
wa-
note of that. The dragon was not CG, which I will give props
I'm like,
for.
I was like, wait, it's an isekai without a CG dragon. What am I looking at?
Yeah, running in very stark contrast to the next show we're gonna talk about.
So KamiKatsu, this is the other isekai
Well,
that I managed to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, does anyone else have anything left to say about One Hit Kill Sister? Because I dropped it after the sister started like macking on the.
I
on the
dropped
kid.
it at 000.
I'm finishing it
Nothing else.
for sure.
Okay, all right, yeah, it's time for KamiKatsu then.
This one honestly
so
made me laugh.
KamiKatsu.
Oh, it made me laugh too, but not for the reason it wanted to.
Yes,
This one
yes,
made me
I
laugh
know what
at
you're
myself.
talking. I know what you're talking.
So there's a scene. I guess I'll lay a little bit of groundwork first. So the dude, his dad's in a cult. He's a cult kid, and it's made his entire life miserable. Now, what I like about this show is that it does seem to take the main character's unluck comically instead of
My first note
way back at
from
cheat
the
skill.
show is just I wrote down, "Hey Crunchy, look, it's Masubi."
I want to watch a show about the guy's high school days living with his cult dad, because I feel like making a dark comedy about how awful this guy's life is would be way better than what we're about to get into. The main guy, gets pushed off a cliff due to some cult ritual, reincarnates to a hand job. First thing. And
Dang,
I fell out of my chair and said, "No, stop this.
That's
Kill me now."
unique.
I
That
will
is-
say, yeah, I can't
Yeah,
think of
yeah,
any other
it's
isekai
unique.
that.
So the reason why
I've never
this is
seen that.
bad is because it makes the show's priorities clear. All right, instead of introducing us to the world with like the intriguing world building, or like, oh hey, you're just waking up, here's this like interesting character who's going to accompany you on your journey, because I don't even mind this show's premise. Other than that, it's an isekai. The cult stuff and going to a world without gods, like, that seems like it could go somewhere interesting, have things to say, but instead you wake up and it's fan service, and it's like, why? Stop. If God is real,
I mean-
strike me dead.
I mean, like, okay.
God is
I'm not
real,
saying
and
it's
she's a
good.
naked lolly.
I'm
If
not
this show
saying
is
it's
anything
good,
to be believed.
But you could to play devil's advocate, you could say the hand job scene was like to show that the world was like a world where porn was like taboo and everything, because they did establish that later.
Yeah, I get where he's coming from. I do kind of agree that, like,
You
yeah,
could
it's,
say
it's,
that.
it's obnoxious, but like they do at least make it a point to like not make this like he gets revived via a hand job. That's so wacky. They do make it a point in the episode to be like, this is a world where porn is like akin to like really old fashioned and almost kind of artistic depictions. Yeah, but even that's like treated to the point where it's like this old-fashioned stuff that belong in a museum is like and not even that horny at all compared to something you'd find on like NSFW Twitter. It's like treated as like the most hypersexual shit. Like they just watched all of like Pornhub in like the span of 5 minutes.
Alright, I will also say the ending part of episode 1 gave me whiplash. Like the entire episode was chill. And like just him hanging out, and they just killed her. Like what? They just killed her older sister. Like that
Yes,
turned dark really fast.
I was skimming this episode. I didn't really get the full picture because I was just hitting the forward 5 seconds button so much. But I do know that I doesn't the guy die at the end of the episode and gets reincarnated again, but this time with the girl?
Yes.
Am I getting that right? Okay.
Kinda, yes. But
Because-
like they
because
established
naked
that
lolly
this,
god
that,
came down from on high.
Oh yeah, I did see that part. Which is based. I've made the joke to myself a dozen times that I hope God is a cat girl lolly made, because I just think that'd be funny. But otherwise, this show sucks.
It has some of the greatest usage of CG I ever did see in
Yo,
anything.
when
yeah,
I
wait.
saw that, when I saw,
I made a tweet about this. When I saw it, I was like, "Yo, is that a Pokemon roaming around in the wild? Dang, I better walk into it and try and catch it."
Dude,
Bro, this is giving me flashbacks to Poke Park Wii.
dead when that little like orange fox thing was running across the ground. I dead
Yes,
ass thought
yes.
my webpage had like some kind of browser icon going
yes,
across
yes,
it as a prank.
yes, exactly.
I
Yes,
thought-
it's like one of those computer viruses that has like the butterflies everywhere. It's this little orange
I
fox stuck to your screen.
I could not believe it was that awful.
Like, I thought I was like, imagine, I thought I was hallucinating, and then they showed the strange beast. I was like
I didn't
dumbfounded.
see no strange beast.
It was
I
like
need
a
to scroll through this episode.
PS1.
I mean,
It was
it is strange.
Approximate
PS1
timestamp. What's the
pre-rendered
approximate
cutscene.
timestamp? Wait, hold on. I need to remember what this. Okay,
Okay,
KamiKatsu.
but while you're searching that up, would you believe me if I told you it gets even worse?
Oh no.
look at what I just
Yes.
posted in the general
Wait.
chat.
Oh,
That
hell.
is in fact the next episode.
Yeah, but like
Wait,
that's
next
so
episode.
that's so bad. It's great.
It
That's
looks like a
so
PS1
bad.
game, dude.
This is. I think it's worse than XR.
It looks like fucking
Like this
Tekken 1.
specifically. It's so good. I love
His
it.
teeth look like sliced bananas.
You know what?
It's so good.
This is revolutionary. They've
I
never used
know.
Play-Doh in anime before.
Yeah. Oh,
I love it. It's great.
Why are his like top teeth spikes, then the bottom ones are molars? I don't get it. No, okay, just the back ones are molars. That's a freaky looking mouth.
like at what kind of like self-awareness or like just general lack of visual cohesiveness do you have to lack to allow this to happen?
Well,
I know that
feel
the
like
real
I'm gonna have
answer
to
is
stop you
studio
there.
shit and like scheduling.
no, it's
whatnot,
not even.
but
It's not even studio shit. It's that studios are often forced by producers from way up on high who are investing in the show, who want their money back as quickly as possible. KamiKatsu is not like this big show that's gonna net them like a bunch of dough, so they don't have that much to gain from delaying it to make it look good. So they're not gonna delay it. And so the horrendous schedule that I'm sure they had to make this show gives you this, and also gives you the terrible animation in this show. Even the 2D, I mean, this tweet is saying, your 2D looks nice. No, it doesn't. It absolutely does not.
Yeah,
Even the 2D in this
it
show
really doesn't.
is like stilted and awkward.
I'm not a fan
and
of the art
that's
style.
That is a product of poor schedule.
But it's hilarious.
The
I love it.
True.
It's hilarious.
It might be
The-
better that it's like this, because no one's gonna
I know.
seriously watch this show.
I know.
No.
So why not have a laugh?
The only two things about the show that I found like a little bit interesting was the porn thing, and also that apparently there's this this sect of the world that values death, and like anyone who is afraid
Yes,
of
that
death
was
is viewed as like this weird deviant of a human being. It's like death is a natural part of life. Why like we welcome it, and it's like we
It's
celebrate the end of
Shinkai.
life.
Yeah, like the end of the first episode went from comedy to horror and then back to comedy when the lolly popped up.
Yeah,
main
the show
thing-
has a
because
very
I
inconsistent
did
tone.
also get to the part about them valuing death, but like, well, I skimmed through it, but got the gist of it. But like, there's a way to blend this in such a way that it's tasteful. Is my thing, because like you're talking about the hand job, goes into the world building, could also be seen as comedy. But like Lukoa got introduced, and the first thing people point out are her massive badonkers. That didn't annoy me. That's funny. There are ways to make a character
also-
where the first thing you see about them is sexually charged, and it's still good. There are ways to do that. This is not it.
Well, also, this show just kind of has a massive tone problem, because, like, I feel like it's just going to be kind of, like, goofy, silly fan service stuff from here on out in this sexless world, but it's gonna be weird, like, especially for the pink-haired handjob girl character, because now she's gonna go through, I assume she's gonna go throughout the rest of the series knowing that her sister fucking got hung in front of her.
Yeah,
but she's gonna, I
is
bet she's gonna act like her same goofy self from before that, so that's gonna be weird.
Yeah, overall, bad show.
I
But you
like
want to know
Emma
what
too.
show is actually the greatest show of this season? Café, Terrace, and its Goddesses. Now, Café, Terrace, and its Goddesses is an absolutely phenomenal show. It's about this guy who, his grandma died. This is a very heartbreaking backstory. Immediately got me hooked into his character. And he goes to this cafe, and he wants to shut it down. He wants to bulldoze the entire thing. But then he meets the 5 girls, the 5 goddesses. Now, they are shown to us naked at the beginning of the show. This represents their holiness. This is actually symbolic for how truly special they are. They are the most instantly fascinating characters on Earth. Other harems, like quintessential quintuplets, they shiver. They shiver at the sheer prowess of Café Terrace and its goddesses. It absolutely clears everything in this season, and the animation and art style are so distinct. They are immediately you are like almost taken aback with how good it looks. Bind quivers. Every studio quivers. Kyoto Animations, Ufotable, they quiver at the sheer frame rate of this show. It is going on smooth all the time. The art style is completely distinct from anything else in its genre, and overall, it is single-handedly carrying, like, all the harem shows out there that you've ever seen. If you ever think that, you're watching a harem show and it stoops to, like, this really dumb sexual joke, just know that Café Terrace and its Goddesses did it better. It makes the best harem jokes of all time. I was laughing constantly. It nails its tone and atmosphere. All 6 characters introduced in this episode are instantly memorable and fascinating, and overall, I would give this show nothing short of a 10 out of 10. I've said my piece.
I could have eaten lunch in the amount of time you took to say all that bullshit.
A while ago, like outside of the podcast, I said to Crunchy that I wasn't too big a fan of the quintessential quintuplets and its art style, because I didn't find the girls in that show very appealing or the art style very attractive. And I feel like I owe him an apology now, because I just watched this show. I was like, oh, I didn't realize how bad it could get.
So, in case some of you didn't get the joke, this show is awful. I hate it.
I wouldn't call it awful, but it's just
What do you
harem.
mean it's not awful?
It's harem trash. It's not like insulting. It's just generic harem trash.
Generic harem trash is like the tiniest fraction of a step above isekai trash.
Is it
on
really?
the tier, they are close.
Is it? Is it above?
Harem trash is... Honestly, here's the thing. Isekai trash is more boring, but harem trash is more annoying. Because harem trash will shove the fact that it has fan service in your face constantly. It'll make every single joke link back to sex in some way. It will keep on hammering that point home over and over again. Hey, look, here's another unfunny joke about, like, the girl... Actually, the girl drank alcohol, which she's underage, so that's actually pretty base to put in an anime.
Ain't it so quirky that the guy walked in on all 5
they're in
of
college?
them
Okay, never mind, it's
naked?
not based anymore. I hate it. Okay, admittedly, I did skim a lot of this episode. I was not about to suffer through it in real time.
Did you skip the part where the shy green girl got wasted and tried to fuck the dude?
No, I did not skip that part. That was one of the parts that made me want
I
to
was
skip
laser
even more.
focused on that part.
Yeah, so the entire episode is, the girls want to keep the cafe alive, the guy doesn't, he wants to bulldoze it. And so their idea is sex. Let's just keep on doing that and hope the guy gets horny enough that he spares the cafe. And so the blue girl, who looks like Minami Nanami if she got ran over by a car, she goes out in this skimpy outfit and she's like, hey, let's go for a jog because presumably it'll make her boobs jiggle or something. And then he's like, or in that outfit, and then she blushes like she didn't know what she was doing. For some, you put that on. You were the one who put that on. Why are you blushing? Why are you embarrassed now all of a sudden?
She was asking for it.
Like, I know the logic is that she remembered she was going to go outside in it and that she's just an idiot, but that just makes her completely unlikable. I don't want to see someone that stupid. And if you're going to make them that stupid, make it funny. If you make it funny, it's good for them to be that stupid. That is not funny, and so I just hate her. Yeah,
It's
the
cute,
show
so
sucks.
I forgive it.
It's cute, but it doesn't even have good art. Like, if I'm gonna watch a show just because it's cute, I'm gonna watch like a well-animated show. This
Okay,
show's
to be
not
fair,
it.
I don't think the thing is, I actually came into this with like kind of having expectations because if you've seen my channel,
Why?
I'm a huge Gotobun fan, so I'm like, oh, this is just the quintuplets 2.0. I'll like it. And then I watched the first episode. I'm like, I'll see. I'm nowhere near as invested, but I'll see.
All right, Neon. You need to promise to put this on screen right now, because I saw this frame and just lost it.
Yeah, it is not the greatest looking show. It's
Yeah.
The point of a harem show is to have like the girls be hot. If you make a harem
Yeah.
show and you don't make the girls hot, you have failed horrendously.
Mm.
I'm
agree.
one of the few people with any self-respect who likes quintessential quintuplets. And even though I like that show, I can still acknowledge that this is so much worse. This is like,
Yeah.
if quintessential quintuplets is like 30% harem trash, this is 110% harem trash.
I'll probably still give it a chance. I'll probably still watch it.
Why? Why?
Because I like quintessential quintuplets enough to be like, maybe.
This
If,
show's
if
so
the,
much
if the
worse.
uncensored version comes out, it may earn an X videos compilation, but that's as far as I'm willing to engage with it.
Even that far would make me feel dirty.
Any
Next
last
show
notes about it?
Anyone else? Shamu, you got anything to say?
It was a little too Ichi to my regards, but I mean, I'm just again not the crowd for it, sadly.
Bro said Ichi ni.
Eh,
You're supposed to say song.
oh gosh.
Alright, well, hey, the Shimu, how about, was Dead Mount Deathplay more of your speed?
You know?
Wait, I actually.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go on, sorry. No, that's fine. Go on.
Kind of. I actually had this series in my plan to read because I enjoyed the novels. Like, I like the covers for it. So I watched the episode. I've since removed it from my plan to read because it's an isekai. But it was fine.
Okay. So I like, with an asterisk, the size of Jupiter this episode. Because the thing is, there are parts where I'm hooked into it and I'm like, I'm enjoying this. But the beginning sucks and the ending makes me never want to watch it again.
I made it halfway through and was like, maybe Baccano and Durarara weren't that good. If this guy
I
did
still have
both
faith
of
in
them.
them.
Yeah,
For reference, Neon
this is
hasn't
from,
seen them yet.
yeah, I haven't seen them yet, but like if this is the kind of shit that the guy is like regularly, then I don't know.
I've heard some people who are like a little mid on how Baccano and Durarara begin. Specifically, I've heard criticism of how they begin. Well, for Baccano, it was the anime that people complain about. For Durarara, it was the novel. And with that expectation in mind, I sat through the insufferable beginning of this show. So the beginning of this show is overpowered isekai dude who's clearly, been around the fantasy world a while. he faces the Grim Reaper or whatever, something like
The
that.
big CG skull
Skeleton
monster.
King. Yeah, it's CG, and he makes an army of CG skeletons, and it's this overblown, contextless, tensionless action scene. First of all, if you're gonna begin your show in an action scene, you need to you need to know what you're doing. You need to exposit like tons of information about the character, get you immediately hooked in, despite it being in an action scene. You need to, because if you start in an action scene, the viewer inherently does not understand the stakes whatsoever. And so if you just plot me in, I'll be like, well, what's at stake? Why do I care? Why should I care? You need to build up, typically what you do is build up the characters and be like, yo, this is what they're like. And there are ways to do that. No Game No Life begins on a video game action scene, and that, although it could have been handled better, at the very least sets up, hey, Sora and Shiro, good at games. That's like what the entire show is about. You're at least getting something important from that. I got from this that he's overpowered and that he lost. Kind of. He won, but he also lost because he got transported to another world. We're not supposed to know what's going on with that yet. But then it gets surprisingly kind of good. There's this girl. Okay, so it sets up a few mysteries. So the body he is inhabiting is not his own. It was getting chased after because an assassin was trying to kill him, but he doesn't know why she's trying to kill him. But nonetheless, the assassin goes after him. I love her design. I wish she didn't die at the end of the episode. But nonetheless, good character design. I was interested in her. Some of the lines where she says, I might fall for you if you keep on fighting back, or I'm getting a little turned on. That was a bit ew, but other than that,
You don't like yandere?
Gave her. I mean, I'm not particularly for yanderes,
Alright, fine,
but
fine.
I didn't even think of her as one. I was just like, I guess it gives her a little personality, but
Alright.
I mean, but anyway. That scene is all good. I was hooked into the mystery, and the main character, instead of just being overpowered and using incomprehensible powers that I can't even begin to understand, was like actually like facing danger. Here's what makes me never want to pick up this show again, because I can forgive a bad opening scene if the rest of the episode is good. I can forgive that.
But the episode looks like shit.
Yo, well, yeah, but even more than that, what turned me off in the show is he has he is like, oh, I can see ghosts, so that means my powers are bound to my soul instead of my brain and body, so I'll just use my powers from the old world. Now, we've seen his powers from the old world before. They're incomprehensibly powerful. This guy is, maybe he'll get into danger eventually, but he even resolves like, hey, I'm gonna live a peaceful life because the modern world, it's kind of a reverse isekai, by the way, but he's like, maybe I can live a peaceful life. And I'm like, I don't want to see an overpowered guy living a peaceful life. I want to see someone in danger again. And his powers are so incomprehensible in what they can actually do that it's like, I want to see these powers. I want to see him vulnerable. I want to see something physical. I want to know his limitations and then have them be tested constantly. I don't want to see him send a skeleton hand out a gate and be like, I'll just kill you in one shot. Because he kills the assassin in one shot. It's not good. Yeah, so I dropped it.
Alright, all I hear is blasphemy. This is one of my favorites. I love the first episode.
What?
Like this more than Jigokuraku.
What?
Yes.
You
I
like
love
this more than Jigokuraku?
I'm
Yes.
blown away.
That is
Bro, the opening
mental
fight
illness.
was okay. First of all, I don't know what you're on about the opening fight. That was cool as fuck, and I feel like they explained enough that something the world. I don't remember the details, but
I
like
don't give a shit about
something
this world.
the world.
I
gonna
just
end.
got here.
Okay, no. The thing that blew me away was at the end of the episode, because they trick you into thinking the hero reincarnated as the guy, right? But no. Like at the end of the episode, you find out that the guy that got reincarnated was the Skull God, not the hero.
Oh, that's fair. That was a good twist.
That blew me
I
away.
will give you that.
I was like, what?
Fair, but
Animation was
at the
was
same
really
time-
good.
I didn't
Do I
make it that far.
care?
I dropped
No,
it halfway
But,
through.
like, It was. I will admit, it's a good twist though. Like, no matter how much.
But it's at the same time, it's like, why care about it? I mean, maybe he's the villain. Maybe from that point forward, it'll be good.
Y-
It could
y-
go in a neat direction, but I'm like, if I'm following this guy,
You
through
want to
his
know why I tapped
adventures-
out? I saw the magic effects and how they were animated, and I was like, if this is how the whole show is gonna look, count me out, dude. Because the problem is,
What? I thought the show looked good.
okay, here's the thing. Here's the
Good.
thing.
It
The
looks
show's tricking
acceptable,
you.
but barely.
It's tricking you. The animated, like the swooshy magic, like purple effects, the stuff that's 2D animated, it's well animated, but it's poorly composited. It does not look like it belongs in any scene that it's in. It always looks like it's above like the world on like the layers in the program. They always combine it with ugly ass 3D effects that do not look good at all.
I don't know what you're on. I was hyped as fuck. I love this. I'm
Getting hyped.
absolutely.
Okay,
into this
maybe
shit.
during the scene where the girl's trying to assassinate him. Maybe during that. I can understand being a little hype. The opening scene? Really?
Yes,
That is straight perplexing.
that was cool.
It's
CG
The fight was
skeletons.
cool. The CG wasn't bad.
it's
What
almost.
are
I don't
you
think it was
talking
awful.
about?
I
Alright,
I don't remember.
It's not as bad as
It's not
Kaminaki
awful.
Sekai. Like, I'll give you that, but at the same time, it's like it's not good.
I mean, it's not
good.
amazing, but I don't think it was bad. Like,
It-
I was fine with it.
I think mediocre CG inherently looks bad in a 2D setting.
Yes.
Even if the CG itself looks okay, it's still like you need really good CG in order to pull it off in a 2D setting. That's my take, at least.
I guess for me, it's just it didn't ruin anything for me, so I didn't mind it. I was still.
I mean,
hyped, so,
even
yeah.
with 2D animation, it would have been a bad scene, but with the CG, it's just that much worse.
But there was no CG in the Marginal Service.
Yeah, I watched the entire first episode of this without skipping around.
I did too,
So
surprisingly.
that's rare. Yeah. So.
I did not watch this one. Actually,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
You
You
didn't
watched
miss
the
much.
Isekai, but not this.
yes.
To be fair, it's not good. It is not particularly.
It was good until the ending.
There are aspects of it that I like. The main character has an immediately set up personality, and it's like, okay, I can hook myself into that. They're building up this like supernatural force, and he's like, okay, like, no, I guess that's kind of cool. My main thing is that there's just nothing to really, what's the word I'm looking for? To latch on to. There's nothing like getting me invested in the show itself.
The
It's, like,
character
decently
dynamics are
entertaining.
not established yet, which is a big misstep for a first episode. They just go for the generic grizzled, older, experienced cop and the hot-headed newbie on the team who acts
You
on
said the-
instinct.
You said the ending was really bad, so I'm actually curious about that because I just thought that was kind of like, I mean, it was blah, but it wasn't. It wasn't. I wouldn't go so far as to say episode ruining because I would have dropped it anyway.
I was considering continuing it on the basis of like, all right, maybe if it like keeps up, if it like introduces character dynamics that I find interesting, then maybe I would continue it because it's about this dude who just got released from the local police force because he's too much of a loose cannon, man. He doesn't play by the rules, even despite getting the highest arrest rate, and so he gets kicked out the police. But then he gets brought in by this secret cryptid police task force, which are charged with bringing in these guys called Borderlanders, which are basically just like monsters living amongst people in disguise.
Among Us.
Yes, they are in fact sus imposters. And so this cryptid police task force has to track them down. They're the Marginal Service. They gotta track them down and bust this little like drug ring they got going on because they have the same rights as people, but they have these different powers from people, and they gotta be approached differently.
And
you
what I
can't-
liked is that they specified they have different systems of morals, which suggests that, okay, they aren't mindless, they aren't evil, There's nothing inherent about them. It's like their society just has a different perspective on things. That could, be thematically interesting and poignant.
And then he
really
just
get to the
becomes a
heart of certain
monster.
matters. Yeah.
He doesn't
but
become
that
like an
was a bit-
intelligent shapeshifter. He just becomes like a bloodthirsty monster.
That was another
Which was
missed
the
opportunity.
first of this 1-2 punch, because then when I was like, okay, there's no saving this, is when the task force comes out in these like Power Ranger Sentai construction outfits with these like big construction guns that they just use to gun down the monster. And it's just like, all right, well, I don't care about any of this anymore, because I thought this was gonna be like this cool like task force that have to like handle things like police do. But if they're just gonna be these like Sentai dudes who just pull out the big guns and kill the monster, like just without any like intrigue on how these cryptids behave or like act, if they say they're like people, but then they just act like monsters, and it's like, which is it then?
It's just there's no X factor. That's what it is. It's like very
Well, no,
very...
it has an X factor. It just shits all over it.
Well, it could have had one. That's what I'd say. It could have had one, but
I will say
there's
it does.
nothing really appealing about it. I'd say it's like
It doesn't
entertaining,
deserve the 5.62 it currently has on Mal. There are shows
baffled
from the
me.
season worse than this.
because Cheat Hero, Cheat Isekai, whatever it's called, has a 71% on AniList versus this
sin.
show's like 50 something score, and I'm like, those should be reversed. Those should be reversed. Well, bring this one down to like a 6 something, but still.
Yeah, I'd if I'm in the mood to watch like a cop show or anything like that, I just go back and finish Buddy Daddies.
God, I still need to get back to Buddy Daddies.
I finished. I love that show so much. 10 out of
I
10.
know I love it.
I
just
heard that
haven't seen it
PA
yet.
Works got the ending right.
10 out of 10.
Rare PA Works ending correct moment.
Fireworks has been doing really good recently. Kungling was amazing.
And now we've got something that isn't amazing. Or maybe it is. My Coolest First Friends. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I did something weird here. I got about like 2 or 3 minutes into the anime, maybe 4, and was like, this is one of the worst looking shows I've ever laid my eyes upon. And so I read the manga. I decided, you know what? I can experience the same story, but without these visuals. So I'm just gonna read the manga and regale to you if the manga is worth reading, and you guys can tell me how bad the anime looks. Deal?
Yeah.
Well, no deal, because I didn't watch it.
Shamu, did you watch this one?
I in fact did. But go ahead.
Did you like the lovingly crafted visuals that rival Studio Binds and Kyoto Animations?
Hey man, listen, whoever the studio is behind this one that I didn't bother to research, they went through some troubled times. They were like on their way to deliver the animation cells, but then the intern spilled water all over it. Now like all the tops of the characters' heads looks like they had their paint washed out. And it looks...
You want to know the funniest part, Neon? That isn't on accident. That is carried over from the original manga.
Okay, why does it look bad then? Because I've seen panels of the manga and it makes it look better.
Yeah. So the reason why it looks good in the manga is because there's a very harsh contrast between the shine and the hair. You know, it's not like someone went in MS Paint and was like, I'm just gonna scribble all over their head. No, it's like, it feels very intentional, and furthermore, it doesn't, look quite so glaring in a black and white setting, because there's only really two colors plus, I mean, I guess maybe gray or something like that, but, you're only working with 2 shades, so it's not going to be so glaringly bright. It's like, oh, it kind of blends in. And even when there's colored illustrations, because the contrast between them is so harsh, it's like, okay, this is an intentional stylistic choice, and sure enough, the mangaka has that same shine on every single character he draws. It's just the thing that sets his art apart. And I do think the manga looks good, the characters are cute. That being said, I'm not sure if there was any saving this to begin with. I'm gonna be real with you.
Is the manga not
ain't
good?
that good. The problem with it is, you know how something like Dragon Maid will, set up a standard premise that, would get old fast if they didn't add in a new character and then another new character and set up some interesting dynamics and relationships. This manga just doesn't do that. It's the same joke every time. It's not that funny. It doesn't vary the interactions at all. The joke is that the guy is like, he misunderstood. I'm not sure if I can say that. I'm gonna leave that be.
No, you gotta say it now.
Say it. You can't just leave.
Coward.
Say it.
He's clearly autistic.
Yeah.
He does not understand social scenarios at all. He has zero comprehension.
He's every anime
It
fan.
felt like he was just throwing
Just
out
like
insults.
me, for real. So his thing is that he thinks it's really, really cool that the main girl is called the Grim Reaper, and he at some points like mind cucks himself into believing that powers are real and that people really are magic, and then when he hears it's all a game, he's like, oh, that makes sense. That's still fun though, and he'll keep on saying things to the girl that makes her blush, and she'll be like, I can't believe you love me so much, and that's every chapter. I got past the point where, past the amount of chapters that would be adapted in episode 1. Obviously, I didn't finish it, but, I read enough chapters that I'm sure I got all the content from episode 1. And I can safely say that it was the same joke over and over again. And it got old. I did see some side characters in the OP, so maybe they do expand the dynamic a little bit, but it's really a show in desperate need of like more varied writing and more characters. Even Dragon Maid. Well, I say even Dragon Maid as if it was close to being bad. It's not. It's the best slice of life ever. And it had varied jokes. It was constantly funny, keeping you on your toes, and you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen next. And putting new characters in new scenarios. It's a slice of life that refuses to get stale. This slice of life is nothing but stale. That's all I had got to say.
I can't really say anything. I didn't watch it, so
I
can't argue against.
I watched the half of the first episode, concluded that it did not look very good, and that the manga looked better. I can't speak to what Crunchy said about if it does get old in the manga or not, because I haven't read it, but I will say the content does look real cute. I think Nishimura, the Grim Reaper girl, does have a really cute design. I like her.
I love her design, yeah.
I like her covered hair with her ring eye. How she doesn't really have a pupil, it's just like a black circle.
Yeah, her pupils are real cute. Here, you want to know what would salvage this show? If they just straight up get in a little kid romance. That would make me come back.
I think
to the
that's what
manga.
they're going for. Right? Is this not what the show's gonna turn into?
They're definitely building towards it. It's just a matter of how much meandering are we going to get before that. It's the real issue. If we just get right there, I'll be willing to give it a few more chapters. But I'm not sure at what point that would be, if we've even gotten to that point, is the thing. And I'm not willing to read a dozen more chapters to figure out if we do.
And anyone else have anything up to say?
Nope.
Alright, then we move on to actual anime of the season, the Kizuna Ai anime.
This is the one I blocked out.
that is perfectly acceptable. There's not much content to this one.
So I did not get very far in this. I was thinking maybe I'd like watch the entire episode as a joke. I did not have the willpower to do it because
I wanted to see how far I could get into it, because apparently it's about a fucking VTuber school, and just like, is that where we've gotten to the point?
Yes.
It is about that. I did skim through some of the later parts of the episode, but I was skipping like entire minute-long chunks. Like, it was not.
I mean, she was just
I
singing.
was not
so, you didn't miss much.
Apparently, Kizuna Ai has gone fucking missing. Like, she's just MIA, unfound on the world. And now all these VTubers are aspiring to take her place in her stead, to carry on her legacy.
This show feels like, hey guys, This is the Kizuna Ai show. Isn't Kizuna Ai so cool? Don't you love Kizuna Ai so much? Hey, I'm the main character. I want to be just like Kizuna Ai. I have a Kizuna Ai poster and a Kizuna Ai, what the fuck was it? Like a plate? A cup. Wasn't a cup? No, a figurine. I have a Kizuna Ai figurine on my table.
In my
and I'm
Kizuna
gonna go
Ai jar.
to my... yeah. The jar I put her in every day. And I'm gonna go to VTuber school to be just like Kizuna Ai, and all my classmates want to be just like Kizuna Ai as well. This is the Kizuna Ai show. Have you not realized that yet? Did you seeing Kizuna Ai dance for a minute and a half before the OP not make you realize that this is the Kizuna Ai show?
The only way this show would be good is if they acknowledge the porn and the hentai VTubers, like what's her name? Melody, Project Melody.
Dude, on principle alone, I would give it a 10 out of 10 if it does that.
Yeah, if there was like an episode
Straight
dedicated
up.
to that aspect of it, I'd be like, all right,
Yes,
this is
everyone would watch that and give it like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, but when they started talking about like cucumber flowers or some shit, I tapped out. I was like, I don't give a shit anymore.
You want to know the biggest thing about this show, though? It's unrealistic. The VTubers aren't fat 30-year-old men under the avatar.
Am I allowed to defend this show?
I mean,
Oh, no.
Do you want to be put in
you're
the firing squad?
But
I mean, see, I watched the first episode. I really got the this is an idol show feeling. It's like super happy.
I mean, what are VTubers but just streamer idols?
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically idols but with VTubers. I thought, because when I first heard about the anime, I'm a huge VTuber fan, so I was actually looking forward to it.
Oh god,
you're a
thought
VTuber fan, so anime girl gun gif. Alright, I've got quite the catalog.
Realized in this like 2 hours, I just like everything degenerate that you guys don't like.
What living in Japan does to a motherfucker.
Is this podcast a cry for help? Do you...
No,
is there
man,
something I can do?
I'm pretty happy with my life. I don't know what you're on. What?
I'm sorry if this gets a little too dark, but like I just imagine like as he's saying that, he's like throwing a rope up to the roof, towards the ceiling. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with my life. I don't know what you're talking about. Things are going hunky dory.
I will say the one thing. Okay, first of all, the first episode was really slow. I wish it went faster. I thought the idea of a VTuber school was very interesting, because I feel like this is... Because I've heard Japan is starting to have, like, legit, like... Those either uni programs or, like, some school for, like, content creators and stuff. So I found that concept of, like, just VTuber school to be interesting. I just didn't think they did it that well, because I thought they would lean more into the... how this theoretical thing would work, but instead it just turned into an idol show, which I'm an idol fan, so I still enjoyed it. It was really cute, but it didn't go in the direction I wanted it to. But also the VTuber part, I thought the Kizuna Ai video looked really good. The main girl doing the dance was very clunky, but in a way that was also charming, because like it reminds me of the old VTuber days where like the models would like glitch out or like act kind of like jank. I enjoyed it. Also, I'm idol trash, so I like the music. Yeah, that's it.
In fairness, the main girl is supposed to be kind of rusty, so it glitching out and being kind of wonky is like appropriate for the character.
Too.
People have or at least Vlusky says the same thing about Bang Dream Season 1, where it's like the songs aren't as good or like as polished as they could be, but it makes sense for the characters.
Yo, I love Bang Dream Season 1 songs.
Well, you can argue with him about that. He is in this server, so easy access. Yeah.
Overall, I think that's about it for
I'm still looking through anime girl gifts to send to Red Joker.
I feel like we've expended all the talk for the Kizuna Ai anime. The last one in this block is Tousouchuu Great Mission, which is based on a Japanese game show series.
I watched
did not
the
watch this.
entire first episode of this.
You did?
Somehow.
I did not watch it.
It's not good.
No, it's really
So-
ugly.
Yeah, it is insanely ugly. And actually, I'm not sure if you saw this tweet, Neon, but I tweeted,
Yeah, I saw the Hisoka tweet.
Hisoka ain't looking too good lately.
Yeah, I saw that.
They just straight up... It's
Yeah,
literally
that-
Hisoka.
That's just
It's a
Hisoka.
dead ringer. But
It's also like a inferior
so
bubble.
this...
If you guys have seen that, like film,
I have not
Bubble.
seen Bubble.
then never mind.
So Tousouchuu, whatever, I don't care anymore, is basically people go on this race to earn money, and they live in a society where, you know, like the rich get everything and the poor only get poorer, and his brother...
Damn,
you know,
can't imagine what
because
that's
it's
like.
a very vertical inclined society, kind of like Made in Abyss, except not good. His brother, it has this sickness that is like endemic to the region. Because they're poor, they can't move out. They can't go up. Right? There's like a hard barrier. So already we're getting like these themes of class conflict. Basically, it's Squid Game. They go on a game show to earn money because they're all poor.
Wait, do they die if they lose?
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's not Squid Game.
It's not. It's less good that way. But yeah, they just run from these goofy dudes who are rendered in CG in suits.
Ooh, I
run
must have
after
missed that
them.
part.
Yeah, it is so... I think they're 2D for some shots, but then after a certain point, like at the beginning, I think they tried to hide it a little bit, but then by the end, they're just full CG running after him. It's like, what a non-threatening thing to chase after them. It's just a dude. Like, CG on top of that. The main problem with this show is that, like, I can see a version of it that is like good, but the main character just he's energetic and he wants to win money. Yeah. Oh, and also he wants to help his brother. There we go. That's his personality. Are you hooked yet? Do you want to see him? Do you want to know everything about him? Is this the best show ever? No, it's not. I don't like it. It's bad. That's
don't know.
about it.
I just saw like the cover. I'm like, this looks like a card game show. I don't care.
In fairness, I did see the cover and have a similar reaction of, wow, this looks awful.
Yeah.
That old lady design. What the fuck were they thinking?
God, I don't even remember the old
She had
lady.
like purple hair.
I have to go back to the episode. I'm remembering the purple hair a little bit here.
I think she had
Fuck,
like
I forgot what it was called.
an
Hold on,
AR Dragon Ball Z scouter.
Okay, Tousouchuu. Tousouchuu.
I mean, it's not gonna help much in this audio-based show while you look that up.
I'm trying to look it up. Wait, does it not appear? Crunchyroll doesn't have it. Did I misspell it?
I don't think we have time for it anyway. I think we
Maybe it's better to not give this show more time.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
no one's fucking watching it. This is just for completionist sake. What is up, boys? Neon from the future here. We're halfway done with the spring podcast. We'll be dropping part 2 next week, so be sure to smash the subscribe button to keep up with the channel, like the video if you enjoyed the show, and let us know down in the comments your thoughts on this season's anime. Tune in for part 2 next week. I'm Neon Manta, and you'll see us next time.